Hey everyone, I'm glad you all could be here tonight. For all of those of you that were just over at Rob and Sarah's live stream, thank you for being there and then coming over here and joining me tonight. I also want to start off by saying thank you to all my moderators that are helping out tonight, from Adam and Phyllis over at Alaska Cut the Cord, Rob and Sarah over at Curmudge Inn, Old School Alaska. So thank you, Ashley, for that. And JR, who I believe will not be here tonight, and any other moderators who are here tonight. I want to thank you guys for that, and thank all of you for being here. I do have a series of questions prepared for everybody, but if you have questions that you would like asked, remember to put a thumbs up behind or in front of them, or some emoji like a happy face or something like that, so that I see it and can get your question put up on the screen. And I do want to say thank you to Frank Simpson for being here tonight, and also for the compliment of saying that I'm fun to watch and that they are learning a lot from my channel. I appreciate that. And Janine Swartz, thank you for becoming a new channel member. I appreciate that. Your membership and all the views that I get here on YouTube are a great way of keeping my channel going. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here, Anna and Janet and Sarah. And 1968 sourdough, Alaskan sourdough. Sorry about that. Great channel. If you guys want to check him out, be sure to do that. If you can pop your link in there, do. Otherwise, maybe one of my moderators can post your links up for everybody. Another great channel is Bent Fork Prospecting. So be sure to check him out. Thanks for being here tonight, JP Harris, Hiking and Backpacking Adventures. And yes, my microphone is working tonight. Thank you guys for putting up with the issues I had last time. And Aurora Knight, hello. Thank you for being here tonight. And EG Wife, yay, she's here. And I'm sure Gary's somewhere in the background too. So another great channel is Ignomatic Witchin. If you haven't seen their channel and you're into trapping and hunting, that's a great channel to check out. They're a bit farther north in Alaska. So make sure you check them out, along with Matt AK, who also has a great channel. Make sure to give him a stop by. And My Bet, how are you doing tonight? Belle Kubler, sorry if I mispronounced your name, Beryl. Rob and Sarah sent them over. Well, thank you for that, Rob and Sarah. And there's Ashley at Old School Alaska, also a great channel that I welcome everybody to go check out. And Meredith Kish, thanks for coming over from Rob and Sarah's as well. And there is Mitchelton, Alaska. That is another fabulous channel to check out. Again, all these channels, especially these ones that are in Alaska, for those of you who are coming to see Alaska content, such as Mitchelton, Alaska, Alaska Cut the Cord, Curmudgeon, I'm sorry, 1968 Alaskan sourdough. They all have something different to offer. They all show a little bit different way of life here in Alaska than anybody else. So make sure you're checking everybody out to see, because you might learn something from them that maybe I'm not showing on my channel, or maybe you'll learn something here that they're not showing on their channel as well. So thank you everyone for being here. R&M, that includes you, and Big Family Expedition. And in case I didn't say it, hello to Alaska Cut the Cord. Robert Still, hello. Thank you for being here from Maine. And Scott Balcom, also a great person. I believe Scott has a channel too. I've not checked it out. So Scott, I apologize. But Scott is a great person. I've had the opportunity to see him in the background of some other people's channels. And so I want to say hi to Scott there. And PTL Fabrication, how are you guys doing tonight? Glad to see you guys in here. And Ed over at Mountain Mariner, also another fabulous channel. And again, he has a different way of living in Alaska than most of us do. In fact, I would say he's probably the most remote out of all of us. So if you're not familiar with Ed's channel over at Mountain Mariner, be sure to pay him a visit. And P&J's Homestead Adventure, who also has a channel, be sure to check them out also. And Rambling with the Brums. So hi, Scott. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're here. Rushing Wind Mountain, some fabulous nature photography, nature videos. I'm always amazed at the amount of animals she's able to capture in their natural setting. So nice to see you here, Ruby. Call Me Kitty is here. My Bet is saying, so glad to hear you alone. I'm glad you guys can hear me too. That means a lot to me. Red Like Wine again. Thanks for being here tonight. Granny Juju. Nice to see you here. Gloria Davison, Lorraine Drew. Thank you for the compliment of loving the videos. And Janet Parrish, thank you for being here and coming over from Curmudge Inn's live stream. Davis, again, thank you for being here from Curmudgeon. April says, hi, I'm April from Los Angeles. I also have a YouTube channel. Look forward to meeting everyone here. Well, thank you, April. And let's see if we can get your channel link put up on the name. Maybe Ashley over at Old School Alaska could do that. But in the meantime, here's Paula and Jason's channel link for P&J's Homestead Adventures and Joan Pavalier. Thank you for being here. And Irma Rios, thank you for joining me tonight. Before I get too far into it, I'm going to find some questions here. And if I skip over anybody in a greeting, I just want to say welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. But I do want to get into some of the questions that I have or questions that you might have. Stu says, maybe late, busy subbing to numerous Alaskan YouTube channels. Well, I'm sure they all appreciate it. So thank you for that. Can't believe how much I enjoy all of the content considering our UK weather can't compare. Yeah, sometimes I look at what's happening in the UK and think you guys are like the tropics in comparison to Alaska. So, and there is April's channel link for those of you who were just wondering based upon her comment. So thank you for putting that up, Ashley. Michael Davis, thank you for being here. And Brooke Trout, appreciate seeing you guys here along with Bobby Chavez. And let's see if I can find some of those questions here. I also have some prepared as well. So Robert still says, how long before you get your home the way you want? Well, I'm sure it'll probably be a long time because it's very expensive for one thing. But yeah, I honestly don't know. It'd probably be a couple more years because I have some big projects on the horizon. One is getting a balcony put on the back of the cabin, getting the back of the property fenced in so that I can be back there gardening and letting the dog, which is currently Kenai, who's sleeping at my feet, or future dogs run back there. I'd like to get a garage built, or a shop as I tend to call it, and also a greenhouse, an outdoor kitchen, lots and lots of projects. So it'll probably be quite a while before I'm ever fully done with getting the property the way that I want it. KT, thank you for being here. KT is asking, did you lose weight? Looking great, by the way. Well, thank you for that. I have a tendency to put weight on and lose it very quickly, and I can gain and lose weight within a matter of days. So I appreciate the compliment, but I'm not doing anything specifically to lose weight. It's just the way that I've always been. One day I might look a little bit bigger. And the other thing is I wear a lot of layers. So sometimes I think that tends to make me look like I'm a bit bigger than I actually am. So, but thank you for that. Brooke Trout says that he might be dozing off, getting up extra early tomorrow, going on a guided fishing trip on the Gulf of at Crystal River. Well, good luck on your trip, Brooke Trout, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's always a joy to see you in the chat. And Lori Wider says, hi, first time watching a live. Love your YouTube channel. Well, thank you for that, Lori. I appreciate that. And Crimson Red says, hello alone. Sure do enjoy your channel. Love what you've done so far with the restroom. Excited to see the finished masterpiece. I am too. I'm still working on it. I'm hoping that it'll be this next week's video. But there is still a lot of little things to be done in there to pull that whole room together. So fingers crossed I can get that out to you guys this week. Brook Trout, Big Family Expedition, thank you for being here. Also another fabulous channel, by the way, says that they want to go there and see the manatees. The manatees would be awesome. And there is Gary over at Ignomatic Witchin who says hello. And Scott P. Scott says, currently visiting Fairbanks, Alaska. We love your channel. Just caught the end of Adam, Rob, and Sarah's live. Well, Scott is visiting here. As he mentioned, Aussie's visiting Fairbanks. So he's from Australia and he's been here for quite a while. So hopefully you're still enjoying it, Scott. And I hope that you and Karen have a great time while you're here. And when you do finally make your way back home, safe travels to you guys for sure. And there's Arlen over at AFJ. Thank you for being here. Just looking for some more questions. There we go. There's Scott's information. Scott says, my channel is professional filmmaking based, but I'm moving to Alaska soon. Well, there you go. We're looking forward to having you up here, Scott. That's for sure. And Titus and Jackie says, how did you choose the part of Alaska that you live in? It was actually by happenstance. It was a fluke, believe it or not. Before I moved up here, I'd actually, because I'm kind of a nerd, I actually created a Gantt chart that listed out every place in Alaska. It was like 200 plus locations in Alaska. And I had everything on this Gantt chart, from the nearest hospital, the nearest police station, the crime rating, vet's office, all sorts of things listed on there. And I was going through, and I was about halfway through that list when I happened to stumble upon this property listed on a website that I hadn't been on before. And I don't even remember the name of the website, to be honest with you. But I hadn't even gotten down the list to this location yet, and I hadn't um, stumbled upon it and yet. And so then I started looking into the area, and I found that this area actually had a negative crime rating, which I kind of joke about. But if you're not familiar with the crime ratings, it's put out by the FBI. So it's a statistic saying how much potential is there for a violent crime in the area. And if you're at 100, you're in a very dangerous place. If you're at 0, you're in a very safe place. Well, I joke that this place has a negative crime rating, meaning that your neighbors might steal something, but they're going to fix it and make it better than it was before they return it to you. So that's not necessarily true. There are crimes in this area for sure, as there is everywhere in the world. But that was one of the things that led me to this area for sure. So again, it was just all by happenstance. But then when I finally made my way out here and took a look at this property, I knew that I was home. I knew that this is exactly where I wanted to be. And I want to say hi to my friend Delbert. How are you doing, Delbert? I did see your emails recently. And I want to say thank you for that. Though I do want to put out a thing about emails. A lot of you might email me. And if I don't respond to your email, I apologize, but I do get a lot of them. And the other thing is I have a moderator that reads through all the emails. And sometimes they don't make it to me for whatever reason, that they see that they're not going to forward them on. So if I don't respond to your emails, it's nothing personal from me. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who does reach out. And again, Delbert, thank you for sending pictures of all your wonderful projects. He's a great woodworker out of New York. So thank you again for that. And Gwen, thank you for being here from Arizona. Appreciate it. And there is Gary's channel link over at Enigmatic Witchin. That is a hard channel name to say, but it's a great channel. And there is Scott Balcom's channel link as well. So everybody be sure to check out those two fabulous channels. And Sandollar J, how are you doing there? Sandollar says that they missed the live at Curmudgeon, but glad to be here. Well, I'm glad you're here as well. And Matt IK is seconding what I said about Mountain Mariners channel, that he is the definition of remote in Alaska. That he is. And let's see, here's Ruby's channel link over at Rushing Wind Mountain. And Bobby Germano says, can you send some snow to New York City? We've been running low for 8 years. Well, if we have a heavy snow this year, I would love to. But so far this winter seems to be coming in like a lamb. I have less than a foot of snow on the ground right now. And I don't even know. I think my next snow is expected to come next Saturday, I think. And I don't think it's expected to be that much. So far, very little snow on the ground, which is kind of good. It means the roads are still in good condition, which is why I now have a working mic and am able to have this live stream tonight. So, but yes, if I could, I would, trust me. And there is Matt AK's channel link. Thank you again, Ashley, for throwing up all these channel links. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to say hi to Jack Brown. Thank you for being here. I appreciate seeing you in the chat. And there is Big Family Expeditions channel link as well. So thank you for that. Joseph is saying that he loves the videos and he learns a lot. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see you in the chat. And same with you, Dawn. I appreciate that as well. Ed over at Mountain Mariner is saying that the new microphone sounds good. I'm glad to hear that. And let's see here. Cheryl Johnson saying, loving the videos. And William Carr is asking how the guest cabin is coming along. That is being, like, it's on the back burner, the guest cabin. So I got a question recently in one of my videos about what is the other house that someone could see on the game trail camera. Well, that's the bunkhouse or the guest cabin, as William is asking about. And it's unoccupied. Nobody lives in it. I have I'm fortunate enough that that was here when I bought the property. This cabin was built by pipeline workers back in about 1970, and they built the bunkhouse as a place for some of those pipeline workers to live in while they were working in the area and also helping build this cabin. And I want to get my cabin fixed up first. Though my friend might be coming back out next summer, and when she's here, she might help me with the bunkhouse so that she's got a place to stay, um, and not feel like she has to be under tow all the time here in the cabin. Uh, she's always welcome in the cabin, but if she would like a place of her own to stay while she comes up and visits and experiences Alaska, she's more than welcome to that. So, but right now it is on the back burner while I finish working on my bathroom and other projects in the main cabin. Let's see here. R&M says, Miss Annie Alona, please be ever so careful with your roof clearing. This is a buddy already this winter. Yes, I am being very cautious about how I clean my roof. I have a fall-proof harness up there so that if I have to go up onto the roof, I can strap myself off, and that will prevent me from falling off either side of the roof and slipping and breaking a bone or worse, my back. So no problems there. I am being very, very cautious, but thank you for that. And there is Ed's channel link over at Mountain Mariner off Grid, Alaska. So be sure to check out his channel. Let's see here. Texas Girl says, I finally caught a live. I absolutely love this channel. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Bobby Chavez says, beautiful home you have. I appreciate that as well. So thank you very much. Jack Brown, who is in Colorado, Southern Colorado, is saying he's got 18 inches of snow there at the Poor Boy Ranch, and it's 15 degrees. It is currently, or at least it was, yes, let's see here. It is currently 24 degrees here, according to the weather app on my phone. And there is Bent Fork Prospecting's channel link for everybody. And Janet says, what type of toilet are you putting in your bathroom? Love that it'll be separate from the tub. Well, thank you for that. I have a Trelino, I think it is. Terlino, I believe is how it's spelled. And the Trelino, it's basically just a very expensive bucket, if you ask me. Nice wood lid on it, but it's basically just a bucket with an inside a bucket, and it has a jug next to the bucket inside the bucket that separates the liquids from the solids, which is great. The most, how do I say it? Foul smelling, not actually the solids, believe it or not. It's the combination of the two get together that really smell bad. So the separate is a great thing, but they're hard to find in America for whatever reason. So this Germany, your question, Janet. And I, for whatever reason, cannot get this to show up. I believe I may have frozen. Let's see here. Hopefully, let me know if you guys can hear me. There we go. Joseph says, sorry about that if I froze. My Starlink appears to be working on the fritz a little bit tonight. Joseph says, I was wondering about your foundation and is it stable and doing okay? Yes, my foundation of the main cabin is doing fine. The foundation that I showed in the bathroom is okay for now, but in the spring, I definitely need to tend to it. I definitely need to figure out what damage it is sustained from soaking up some of the moisture. Again, I've taken some preventative measures to keep any snow from falling against it as much as possible this winter. And then I will be tending to that in the spring. If I need to replace those bottom logs, I should be able to do that without an issue, but I might have to do it in sections. I'm hoping that the corners are still good, so I only have to cut out a middle section and maybe not take out the full log, because then I don't have to jack the bathroom up off of its foundation to get those logs out, but we'll see. So far, so good, though. So thank you for your question. And I want to say hello to Ira Handworker, who's always a joy to see in here. Tell your mom, Lorraine, hello from me, and I hope you both are doing well. Let's see here. Seabass says, I just watched your vid on bubble wrap windows. You mentioned condensation buildup. How did you handle it? To be honest with you, I don't deal with the condensation buildup. Um, if I leave the bubble wrap up on the windows, I don't really have the condensation. If I take the bubble wrap off or don't put the bubble wrap on, and I just put up the foam sheets, I have like 2-inch thick foam sheets that I put up in my windows each winter. If I only put up the foam, I definitely have condensation. If I put the bubble wrap, and I am getting better results, I believe, from the big heavy bubbles like this, as opposed to little micro bubbles that everyone has a tendency to want to pop when they get a hold of them. Um, there's no condensation with the bubble wrap. So this year I am going to actually do an experiment. I'm going to do a thermal gauge on it and see which one is providing better protection against the cold coming in from the windows, whether it is the big or the micro. But I do believe the big ones are actually working better. But with the bubble wrap, no condensation. So great question, though. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Rambling with the Brums is saying, if I lose the weight, he'll find it. So well, just push it to the side when you find it, Scott. You don't want all that. Trust me. And let's see here. I unfortunately do not know how to say your name, so I'm going to call you KT. KT says, just happened across your live. I'm in Wasilla, Alaska. I love the area you live in. It's pretty. Well, thank you for that, KT. Wasilla has some nice areas too. There are some really beautiful homes in Wasilla. And also you guys are right there by Hatcher's Path, which is a wonderful place. And Call Me Kitty says, how do you eat enough calories, especially during the winter, to get through the day and do all the daily chores? I eat a lot of fatty foods, to be honest with you, a lot of starch and a lot of fatty foods. So I know that I could go, carnivore and eat all meat. And I've been there, done that before, but I actually put a lot of heavy, heavy whipping cream. So not just heavy cream, but like heavy whipping cream. I put in my coffee every morning, the one that's like 40% or 46% fat. So I get a lot of calories from that. But then also I do eat a lot of fatty foods. I make sure that I'm cooking with fats and good oils like olive oil. I don't use any seed oils and things like that. I eat a lot of potatoes and other high calorie, densely packed foods. And that really helps with my energy level. So MD says, Dallas checking in. Hi to the chat and alone in remote Alaska. Well, thanks for being here, MD. Appreciate it. KT says, do you still have the Expedition? I did see you have a pickup now. What happened? So yes, I have both vehicles. I did bring up my pickup truck this year and I still have the Expedition. It was just time to bring up the other vehicle. I wanted to do it originally, but there was no way logistically I could do it. So I had to wait till it made sense for me to bring it up here. The Expedition though, is a great winter vehicle in the fact that it actually has better tires on it right now. I haven't had the Ford pickup truck for that long, even when I had it down in Colorado. So it doesn't have the best tires on it. So I need to switch out the tires on the pickup truck, which I will be doing in the summer. It is impossible to get new tires put on your truck here unless you plan well in advance. If you do it in the fall, because everybody's preparing for snow to fall. So need to get new tires on that. But also, pickup trucks are not that great in snow, in case you aren't aware. So the Expedition is my winter vehicle. Pickup truck will be for the summertime. So I definitely have both, and I'm glad to have a extra vehicle here in case something happens to the other one. And Renee Brown is asking, do you have snow now? And thanks for being here, Renee. I have about right now the snow is kind of melted down a little bit. When I looked the other day, sorry for making it look like rolling my eyes, but I'm thinking I have about, I think, 10 inches of snow on the ground currently right now. And Jack Brown, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Jack is saying you look beautiful. Size matters not. I appreciate that. And Dan the Man, thank you for being here, saying you enjoy the vids. And Old School Alaska has put up Scott's channel link over at Rambling with the Brums. Let's see here. Shadow says, love your videos. My prayers sent to your safety and health. Fabulous job on the bathroom walls. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Hello, Boot Knife. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Always good to see you. Deborah, how are you doing tonight? Hi from Ohio. Love your channel. Well, thank you for that. And Cordless Tool, thanks for being here also. Appreciate you being in the chat. Gloria Davidson says, what's the biggest adjustment to living in Alaska? For most people, if you were to live where I live or the type of life that I live, it might be um, not having people around you. It might be not having amenities around you or even amenities to your home, such as running water and things like that. But for me, I didn't really have a huge culture shock of moving up here. I grew up in Colorado, so I was used to the snow and driving in snow. I was always overlanding. I had overlanded for years prior to moving up here, probably for about 10 years. I'd been overlanding, meaning that I was going out for long expeditions, weeks on end, in my Jeep, camping out in the elements, winter camping, summer camping. It didn't matter what time of year it was. And I had been preparing for this life for a long time. And believe it or not, you would never know it by watching my channel or these live streams, but I'm actually really shy and I'm actually an introvert. In public, I am incredibly shy. So being out here by myself was not a big adjustment either. For me, I don't know that I had any real huge adjustments. I'm trying to think. And I'm not trying to make it sound like this life is easy to get accustomed to, but I had been preparing for it for so long that I think I just kind of slid right into it without any issues. So, but that is a great question nonetheless. It's one that I encourage you to ask if you ever go onto Rob and Sarah's live stream over at Curmudgeon or Adam and Phyllis's over at Alaska Cut the Cord. They might be able to answer that question a little bit differently than I've been able to. And let's see here. Looking for some more questions here. Vanessa says, just started watching your channel. Thanks for sharing your adventures and building your home your way. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Red Like Wine says, are you native to Alaska? If not, where are you originally from? Well, I just did answer that, but I'll answer it again. Not that you knew that, but I am from Colorado originally. So lived in Colorado all my life, and then moved up here. So let's see here. And there is Old School Alaska's channel link. So thank you for posting your channel link, Ashley. Greatly appreciate that. Let's see here. Backyard Garden says, love your channel and content. Curious how tall you are. I am very short. At least I think I'm short. I am just over 5 feet tall. So not very tall at all. And Mr. Mike Lambert, how are you doing tonight? It's always good to see you. Mike says, just watching Rob and Sarah and want to catch up with you. Well, thank you for being here tonight, Mike. I'm glad to see you here. And Paula and Jason are reminding everyone to give a thumbs up for the live stream. I appreciate the reminder, Paula and Jason. Let's see here. Old School Alaska has put up Paula and Jason's channel link for everybody. Josie says, hi from Quebec City. What is the one thing you would need and cannot find where you are? One thing that I would need and cannot find. You know, it's funny that I get this question a lot, and most of the times I'm like, there's not really anything. But what's really funny about this is the other day I was thinking about something that is almost impossible to get up here, and for the life of me right now, I cannot remember. So if somebody's looking to move up here and you have certain things that, you know, you're used to, like essential oils or, you know, you rely on lithium batteries, things like that. Things like that are very hard to get shipped up to Alaska. They just will not ship it up. And one other thing that they will not ship to Alaska for whatever reason, and I do not know why, is Sharpies. At least that is through Amazon. Amazon will not ship essential oils, lithium batteries, or Sharpies to Alaska. Don't ask me why. But that's a great question, but nothing that comes to the peak of my mind. So, but appreciate it. Red Like Wine is asking if there's lots of men in Alaska. There are lots of men in Alaska. This is true. But it depends upon what part of Alaska you're living in. You know, there was that saying for a long time that men outnumbered women like 3 to 1. Well, in certain areas of Alaska, the women actually outnumber the men, believe it or not. So it just depends upon where in Alaska you're looking. And Not You says, is it hard to find connections if you move here alone? It can be hard to find connections. I was thinking about this earlier, actually, that this will be, I believe, my fourth winter here in Alaska, living in this home, mind you. And the number of people that I actually know in this area, which again is a huge area. It's about 30,000 acres or something like that, square acres. Uh, I don't really remember the size over the top of my head, but nonetheless, just in the area where I live, I know less than 10 people, and I've been here for about 4 years. So it can be hard to make acquaintances. When I first got here, there were people that asked, um, for me to go do something with them, go shopping with them or go do this or whatever. But at that time, I had a full-time job that I was working remotely, and so I couldn't afford to take the time off to go do the things that they wanted to do. And the funny thing about it is that a lot of people in Alaska aren't really apt to try to make friends with newcomers because they know or they believe that the newcomers probably will not stick around very long. And the couple of people that had asked me to go shopping with them or do things with them were people that had moved up here from the lower 48, and they have since all left. Those people have since all moved back to the lower 48. So I can see where that stigmata comes from about not wanting to make friendships with people who aren't going to be around. But I'm here for the long run. So maybe I'll meet more people if I ever get out of my cabin more. That's one of the things, is I tend to be a homebody. So KT says, do you have a walk-in trail to the Copper River from your place? I do not have a walk-in trail to the Copper River from my place. I'm a couple miles from the river. And then also there's some pretty steep cliffs behind my property. My property sits up pretty high, and I would have to walk quite a distance out of my way to avoid those cliffs. So it would be easier for me to actually drive to the river, believe it or not, even though it does take quite a bit of time to get there from here, even though it's just a couple miles behind my home. So Mountain Mariner says remote at work and home. This is true. Ed works out in the Bay, the Gulf of Alaska, out of Valdez, and then he's always out at I'm not going to remember the places that he's at, but Ed works on the water and then lives north of Talkeetna. So he is, like I said, pretty far remote from the rest of us. Red Like Wing says, it's so warm and humid here in Louisiana. It feels more like May than November. Humidity is one of the things in this part of Alaska that I don't really have to deal with. Sorry, I have a tickle on my nose. It's one of those things that I don't really have to deal with here. This is a very dry area of Alaska. So I'm kind of glad about that, to be honest. And let's see here. NC says, I love your channel. I've been binge watching all day. You're my new life below zero. Hi from Ohio, new subscriber. Well, thank you. That's quite the compliment. Jack Brown says he has a 5-foot drift in front of his door right now. That would not be fun. That would not be fun at all. And Evelyn says, I can't wait to see the bathroom finish. I agree. I definitely agree. It's coming along. And like I said, I hope to show it to you guys in next week's video. Mega Lou says, just found you. Love your content. Sent your channel to my mom. You remind me of her. Oh, well, thank you for that. And Ashley has welcomed all the new subscribers. And I agree. Thank you to all the new subscribers and viewers here tonight. Appreciate you guys being here. And let's see here. Mimi Ashford says, girl, can't believe I found your live tonight. Are you still able to get things by mail? Too late. Well, thank you, Mimi, for the question and for that and for being here. I am going to keep my P.O. box opened all year round. I used to close it down in the wintertime, but now I have have it cleared of snow. And then also having 2 vehicles up here, I should have no problem getting to the PO box a couple times each month. So please, if you feel like sending me something in the mail, you can do so. You can always find my mailing address in the description of all of my videos for those of you that don't have it. So it's available to you right there. And Ashley is reminding, it looks like I froze. Oh no. Hopefully the channel comes back quickly. I apologize. All right, everyone. I apologize. The camera froze up there, and I was answering Mimi's question about sending me stuff. The PO box is open. I will be leaving it open year round. So if you have something that you would like to send me, please do. I used to close it down, but I'm not doing that anymore. So I have a couple questions here that one of my admins had sent to me also. Let's see here. It looks like I've actually answered all those questions. So thank you for that. And I'm just going to try to figure out where I was. I might not be able to. So if I missed your question, I do apologize. Mary says, please buy a GPS as satellite phone for your safety. I actually have one. If you go back to some of my older videos, you'll see me talking about it. But I do have a satellite phone. I also have some other communication devices available to me here that I can use, you know, if I wind up in a real bind or what have you. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm a safety nut, actually, believe it or not. But I do have a satellite phone that I take with me. One of the things about having it is you have to have it get signal to the satellite before you leave an area where you don't have satellite. So for anybody who buys a satellite phone, that is one trick that you have to keep in mind. Let's see here. Daniel's asking if I could buy guns in Alaska. I'm not sure he's asking about me personally, but is it possible to buy guns in Alaska? Yes, you can buy guns in Alaska. Alaska is a very gun-friendly state. So buying guns here, as long as you meet all the federal requirements to purchase a firearm, then yes, buying guns here is absolutely possible. Glorious Davis says, what was it about Alaska that spoke to your heart and soul? The absolute beauty of Alaska. And the people here are super friendly. Everyone I've met has been really, really nice. But the beauty of Alaska, being from Colorado, I would say that Alaska is a lot like Colorado in the fact that it has beautiful mountain ranges, lots of forest, tons of wildlife. But also one thing is it has the ocean, which you can't beat that. So Alaska is one of the most beautiful places on earth for sure. And Charlotte says, are you keeping your PO box open through the winter? Yes, I will do so. And Cynthia Balcom says, what was your reason to moving to Alaska and how long did it take you to adjust? These are very similar to the questions I just answered, but my reason for moving up here was actually had a couple different reasons for moving here. One is my children had grown and they had moved away from the home. And one day, well, I'd been looking at moving up here for a number of years, almost a decade actually. And one day I was driving home after my last child had left the house and I was thinking, I'm heading the wrong direction. I should be driving to Alaska right now. There's nothing holding me here in Colorado. And so that's what really fueled me to put my house on the market and then to move up here. And it didn't take me long to adjust because I've been preparing for such a long time for this move. So, and MD is reminding everybody that the reason they don't ship lithium batteries is because batteries explode. And you definitely don't want that when it's happening in the air. So, what parts of Alaska is that? Ed's asking about the parts of Alaska for where women outnumber the men. Ed's looking for a Mariner mate. Send all applications to Ed over at Mountain Mariner. Oh, my poor internet. I apologize. if you guys can hear me, I apologize. The Starlink keeps going in and out. So, but even if it pauses, I'm still here. Trust me. And Ashley has put up Old School Alaska. I'm sorry, Ashley has put up Curmudge Inn's channel link. So if you didn't hear the joke I just made about Mountain Mariner, it was that he's looking for a maiden. So send all applications to Ed, care of Ed, over at Mountain Mariner. Matt AKC says, please let me know where those parts of Alaska are, for a friend, of course. Yeah. Here says, new to your channel and really enjoying it. I appreciate that from you. There's Ed's channel link where you can to be a Mountain Mariner maiden. And Taxa Churches says, that's weird. Maybe Amazon required a minimum purchase. No, it's just that sometimes they won't ship things. Like I can't get certain large items shipped here as well, like furniture or things like that. They just don't ship everything up to Alaska. And Val says, new subscriber, enjoy your channel. Thank you for that, Val. I appreciate it. There's Matt AK's channel where you can also apply to be a Matt maiden. Sorry, guys, couldn't help but tease you there. Lee Hill says, just found your channel. Great watch. Subbed. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. And Ashley is welcoming new subscribers. And let's see here. Aurora Knight says, alone is my favorite way. I used to be such a people person. Now just my animals, myself, and I am happy. Yeah, that's one of the things about if you're going to live this lifestyle, you have to be comfortable with yourself. If you get lonely or depressed easily, I would not recommend this lifestyle to you by any means. Delbert says, I need to know where the women outnumber the men in Alaska also. Oh my goodness. Maybe I should start a dating site in Alaska to match all these men up with the women. Mary says the reason they don't ship Sharpie pens because people sniff them, addiction, and they may freeze. Well, that's very interesting. I had not thought about that. Red Like Wine says, but you can still be friends long distance and they can visit you at a later date or you can visit them. Yes, this is true. Matt says, anyone know anyone up there in a yurt? I'm considering it as an initial thing to live in when I find land eventually. I don't know anybody up here who lives in a yurt, but I do know of a few properties that have yurts on them as the main residence. I just don't know the people personally, but I've seen them, listed for sale over the last few years. So I know it's a thing. I just don't know anybody personally who is in them. So, sorry, scrolling through looking for questions. Brian says, are you harvesting any wildlife? I haven't been hunting this year, and I don't do any trapping, but I would like the opportunity to go hunting again in the future. So hopefully next year I might go. But this year, the reason I didn't even attempt to go hunting, I didn't get my tags or anything, is because I have too much meat in my freezers as it is. I need to eat through what I have before even thinking of putting anything in there, because the last thing I'd want to do is harvest any wildlife and let it go to waste. That is not cool in my opinion. So yeah. Let's see here. Facts of Life Test says, have you ever found yourself confronted by a bear or wolf? I have not run face to face with any wildlife here, luckily. I've had bears, moose, wolves, coyotes, all wolverines, all these things come through the property, but I've never been outside when they've come through. Luckily, I've been outside and then a few minutes later had them come through the property. But myself, no. No, but this is why I am always armed. And I get a lot of questions about, why didn't I see a firearm on you while you were doing this, that, or the other thing outside, whether it's on the property or somewhere else. Even if you can't see the firearm on me, I'm always armed. I don't always have my gun belt on. I also carry a 10 mil. And then I also can still carry when I go into town. So always armed. KT is asking, I noticed your son was there helping a couple of times. Does he also live in Alaska or was he visiting? He was visiting. My son, I have two sons. They and my daughter all live in the lower 48. I'm trying to get them all to come up and visit again, but they all have busy lives themselves. They're very successful with their lives down in the lower 48. So hopefully this summer they'll come back up there, and my other son hopefully will come visit me as well. But yeah, they were just visiting. And Old School Alaska has put up Big Family Expeditions channel link for everybody, so be sure to pay them a visit. And Ernie over at Ernie's Cabin says, does that Sasquatch ever help you with the firewood? No, I sure wish he would, though. He just seems to patrol the property. I'm not sure what he's looking for, if he's looking to keep people away, or if he's looking for me and we just keep missing each other. But he doesn't seem to help with the chores. And P&J is thanking all the new subscribers and letting me know that I'm almost at 42,000, which is pretty awesome. And I owe that all to you guys. So thank you for that. I appreciate you guys all subscribing or even just watching. It all makes a big difference. And Matt at K is saying the Big Family Expedition. Yeah, it's an intriguing idea. I kind of like the uniqueness of it. I'm sure that is a private conversation that I just jumped in at. And Shane Ladow, how are you? I was just thinking about you earlier tonight. I saw someone else's name come up on Curmudgeon's live stream that was very similar to yours. And I was thinking about you, thought I hadn't heard from you in a while, and I hope you're doing well. Good to see that you are somewhere in Kansas in the moment. And there's Ernie's Cabin's YouTube channel link. So thank you for that, Ashley. And Taxa Churches says, how do you get internet? I use Starlink and DSL. So right now I have both running. But I'll be moving strictly to Starlink here in a bit because they'll be taking the DSL offline. And the Starlink I just put up, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and it's working out fabulous. So yes, that is how I get internet. And got a question here. Let's see if I can pop this up on the screen. So if I don't repeat myself here. Well, actually, I'm not going to pop it up on the screen. Sorry, because it'll throw me off of where I'm at. But Jason asked, do you want books? If so, what kind? Well, I happen to like reference guides. I'm a huge geek when it comes to that. I prefer to scroll through reference guides and research things than I do read novels. I have a hard time getting into novels because, believe it or not, I'm a slow reader. I will be the first to admit that it takes me forever to read a book. So Janet asked, and thank you for your question, by the way. Janet asked, how is Kenai doing? Love all dogs. Kenai is doing great. He is as ornery as ever. He's been getting some special treats lately. So Mike, a subscriber of mine, got him hooked on bacon strips, which he absolutely loves. He gets a little bit those mixed in with his dog food. But I've been buying him I think they're called nubs. They're, I don't know, like a hard, chewy type bone. And he's been begging for those lately. So he's figured out that if he goes outside, he gets a special treat when he comes inside. So now he's going outside just for the fact of he thinks he's going to get a treat. So I'm trying to wean him off of that concept so that he doesn't wind up eating through all of them too quickly. And Candy Smith says, when all the projects are done, what hobbies will you pursue? Well, I actually like to sew. So in the wintertime, that's something that I'd like to have the opportunity to sit down and actually sew some of my own clothes. I get asked a lot of times if I make my own clothes. I have in the past, but nothing that you've seen me wear on this channel have I actually made. That's all stuff that I've bought either secondhand or off of Amazon. So there's that. But in the summertime, I love to camp and fish. So those are my main hobbies right there. And a Wanderings YouTube channel is right there. So thanks for putting that up. And Sunset is saying that I'm not frozen. That's good to know. Let's see here. Tara says, your channel is on, just not the video sync with your voice. Good now. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And Brian says, what Alaska thing are you looking to try out that you haven't done yet, but keep thinking about doing? That is a good question. In fact, a friend of mine asked me the other day about what are my travel plans for next summer. And I was saying, that I would love to go up the Dalton Highway, take the Hall Road. I would love to go tour some of the islands that I haven't had an opportunity to go to. and I would love to go to Dick Prinickey's cabin. So those are the things that I would love to do. But other than that, I would say just more opportunities to hunt and fish would be the things I would really love to do. So Matt at K says, I'm actually shocked her Starlink works as well as it does where it's mounted currently. Me too, Matt. Me too. So for those of you who haven't seen the video, my Starlink is actually mounted on the middle of the back of the cabin. So it's not sitting up on the roof line or out anywhere, but I have nothing around the back of the cabin that's preventing the satellite signal from working. And I have very little interruption from it. So sometimes it does act up a little bit more than others, but for the most part, it actually works. Let's see here. And again, it's acting up right now as we speak about it. So I will keep working here, folks, to get this next comment to show up. There we go. Here to here says, anything strange happen out there? Yes and no. For the most part, it's pretty quiet here. I don't have a whole lot of strange things that happen. I showed in a video right after I put up the Starlink, in fact, that there was a green light that was making its way across the ground, but there was nothing attached to the green light and nothing for the green light to reflect off of. So I don't know what that was about. I've seen a big blue orb in the trees that was just perfectly still hanging out in the trees in an area where it couldn't have been caused by anything else other than a natural phenomenon. I see lights flickering in the trees that look like Christmas lights, but again, that's not possible because there's no electricity to those trees. Things like that I've experienced here. Strange noises every now and then, but I've not really had any experience that I can quantify, and I've not really had anything that I've been able to capture on film. So I'm always hoping that if something happens, that I actually have my phone with me at the moment that it happens, so that I can show you guys, look, I'm not crazy. It actually happened. But for the most part, it's pretty quiet out here. Donna says, do you need anything from the lower 48? Things to mail. Donna, I will think about it. I'll mention it in an upcoming video if I do, but I can't. Off the top of my head, I think I'm good. I really do appreciate the question, though. And Ed is saying that, yes, it really needs to get pole mounted, the Starlink, that is, with 360-degree views of the sky. If I had that right now, I probably wouldn't be having the little glitches that I'm currently experiencing. So, and Sandy is saying, so great to see you live. I love your channel. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. KT has another question. In case you missed it, does your son live in Alaska? Okay, I got that one. Sorry if I'm behind on questions too. I am trying to go through them as quickly as I can while still giving them the attention they deserve. Call Me Kitty says, can you forage on the state's land that is by you? Yes. Now I've been in national forests and national parks in the lower 48, and it is a whole different ball game when you get up to Alaska. When you're in Alaska and you're in the national parks, they'll tell you this is your land. You pay for it. Your taxes pay for that land. So technically you own the land that you're hiking through or whatever. And so you can forage for whatever, mushrooms, though be cautious because there's a lot of dangerous mushrooms up here, berries, you can fish the land, things like that. Now, hunting, you do have to have a permit and things like that. When you're in Denali National Park, they'll tell you that you can go fishing without a license there. But that's really a joke because there are no fish in Denali National Park other than maybe a few stray grayling, maybe a Dolly Varden. But for the most part, you're not going to catch fish in Denali. But yes, I can forage on state land and I can forage on the federal lands in the area. The one thing that you can't do, though, is forage on the native lands. So there's a lot of natively owned indigenous lands here that they don't allow you to forage on. They don't allow you to go berry picking on and what have you. You can get a trespass permit or a hunting permit, a camping permit, but foraging is one thing they just don't let you do. MD says that they just looked up the USPS, so the Postal Service's rules on batteries and everything else, and gave them a headache just to look at the rules and regs. Oh my God. Yes, exactly. they are a bit cumbersome. So you should look up IDATA, AIDTA, I think IDATA, IDITA or something like that. If you really want to get a headache, that'll give you the true headache about shipping hazardous goods. Hello, Weed Eater. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Sissy's mom says newer iPhones now have access to satellites when you don't have cellular. I used it in Canada and out west. Well, that's pretty awesome to know. Let's see here. KT says exactly the same reason for me why I moved here to Alaska. I will not leave here. I already lived in 13 states and have actually been to or through all of the US states except Hawaii. Yep. I have no plans on leaving here either. I absolutely love Alaska. This is where I want to be. And David is asking, how often do I see my children? So far, I've seen my son twice up here, and my daughter came up last summer for the first time, and that's it. Unless they come see me, I'm not getting the opportunity to see them. I just really don't want to go back to the lower 48. I don't like to fly, and I don't want to go through Canada. And right now, the Alaska Marine Highway is not traveling the Gulf of Alaska. Hopefully they'll start up again next year. But so unless they come see me, we're probably not going to see each other unless it's via conference call or something like that. So let's see here. Mountain Mariner agrees. He's accepting applications. And again, there's his channel link for everybody that wants to be a Mountain Mariner maiden. Let's see here. Clark Leakins, thanks for being here again, Clark. Clark says, do you listen to recorded records, music, radio music, or internet music? I listen to records. I have an old Victrola, and then I have a modern Victrola, modern record player that I listen to a lot of records on. And then I also listen to internet music. In this particular area of Alaska, I can only get 2 radio stations in my vehicles. One is a local religious station, and the other one is NPR, National Public Radio, I believe. At least that's what it used to be called. I think they changed their lingo. But yeah, those are the only 2 radio stations that I've been able to pick up in my vehicles here. And so I just listen to either something on the internet or I listen to records that I have. And if you're wondering what kind of music I listen to, mainly I listen to classical or to oldies, or I listen to country music, but it's like old country music. I like, as far as modern country singers, Charlie Crockett is probably one of my favorites, but also, why can I not think of his name right now? His name just skipped me. And you can probably hear Kenai in the background singing. What am I saying? Tyler Childers, Coulter Wall. Those are ones that I like. Sorry about that. My brain had just gone on Fritz, but Kenai's dreaming at my feet here. So let's see here. Still looking for some questions. And it looks like I'm froze up again for just a moment. So I will be back just momentarily. There we go. Eco says, we had car trouble this past summer, 2 miles before McCarthy, and had to be towed to Glen Ellen. And I bet you that was really, really expensive. It's always advisable that when you're going to McCarthy, that you have spares with you, that you have your car, you make sure that your car is in good working order before you get on that road, and that you don't take any big vehicles, so like a bus, a long RV, or anything with a trailer on it, because it's not really meant for that. It's a very rough road to be on. It's not very well maintained. There was a lot of washout this last year. And if you have to get towed from there, it is really, really costly. And it can take hours for you to get towed out of there. So I'm glad you made it out safely, though. I'm glad that you were able to get towed out for sure. Let's see here. I'm just throwing this up just to continue the joke here. Scott is saying to Ed over at Mount Mariner, applications for Mariner Maiden must include full stats, hunting accuracy, trapping skills, must like long walks to the lake for water and cool evenings by the fire, and pina coladas. Let's not forget that. And Ed is asking how much that tow bill was out of the McCarthy Road to Glen Ellen. Julie is saying, hi, I'm new to your channel. Been watching and loving it. Beautiful environment. Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And let's see here. One Coke to go says, plus, if you have a P.O. box, as many of us don't have home delivery option, they won't ship to a P.O. box. Yeah. So here also, that's one thing is that I do have a P.O. box, but there's a lot of things like One Coke to go mentioned that won't ship to a P.O. box. So you can always use the address of the postal office and just use my P.O. box as a suite number. Or I have it shipped to a transport company in Glen Ellen when something won't ship to the P.O. box at all or to the post office at all. So that is always an option. 1968 Alaskan Sourdough is saying, must be able to be self-sufficient, must have a plane or a helicopter. Please send picture of plane or helicopter if you're applying to be one of the Matt or Mariner maidens. MD is also saying brown bear versus a yurt without a gun or bear spray. No way whatsoever. Yeah, I thought about when I first moved up here. Well, before I first moved up here, I thought about living in an outfitter's tent and building my own cabin. And yeah, there's no way I would have done that without being armed at all times and having the appropriate firearms for the situation. So meaning that you have a high-powered shotgun with you, that you have a hunting rifle, that you have a handgun of the right caliber to take down a bear or a moose. And sorry, I got the hiccups here real quick, so I apologize if you see me hiccuping. And once again, the Starlink is acting up. So this is why I have both the Starlink and the DSL up, is so that if this happens, there we go. There is 1968 Alaskan Sourdough's channel link for everybody. Be sure to check him out. And Gloria is asking if I might get another dog. Yes, but not until Kenai has passed. The reason I'm not going to bring another dog in with him is twofold. One is he does not like other animals at all. He is very aggressive towards other animals. And the other thing is he has some really bad habits. When you guys see him on camera, he's very subdued. He's very quiet, but that's just really because he does not like the camera. But in reality, he is a handful. He he's a jokester for one thing, but he barks for incessantly when we're in the car. He likes to maul people. So he likes to jump on people, and he's tall. Like I mentioned, I'm just over 5 feet tall, and he is almost as tall as I am when he stands on his hind legs, and he's got huge claws. I've never once cut his claws, and I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, you should cut your dog's claws, but he himself will actually cut his own claws. I've seen him sit there and he'll trim his own nails one right after the other, and he's got, it almost looks like a talon, because when he takes off the top of his nail, what's underneath it is a very sharp and pointed talon underneath it, and the part that he's taken off is hollow, so you can see that, you know, it's a new claw growing in underneath. And once he's done that, those claws are very sharp. So, but back to getting another dog. Yes, when he passes, I will be getting another dog, if not a couple of them. So let's see here. KT is asking if I'm on the roadkill wait list for moose. I am not on the roadkill wait list for moose. One of the reasons for that is that you have to be on there with another household. And then the other thing is that you have to get there in a matter of 4 hours, I believe it is, to pick up that moose. And if you don't get it, your name goes back down to the bottom of the list. I'm not always available because I have things going on. I don't have a trailer or a way to haul that moose back. Yes, I could do it in the back of the pickup truck now. But I also don't have anybody else in the area that isn't already on the list with somebody else. So right now, no. I am not on the list, but it is always an option for people here too. So that Wildcat says, what kind of moisturizer do you use in the harsh climate? Your skin looks great. I have the worst skincare regimen. English is hard, folks. I don't actually use any moisturizer on my skin. And I think it's funny that you say it looks great because I'm always looking in the mirror going, oh my goodness, I have lizard skin. But no, I don't actually use any moisturizer at all. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. Yeah, I saw a video the other day of, a wife versus the husband's skincare routine. And the wife was pretending to be the husband. All she did was splash water on her face and rub some really harsh soap on her skin and then go on her way. That's mine. That's mine right there. I don't invest in a whole lot of beauty products for sure. The only thing I invest in is the bleach that I put in my hair and then I mess it up, which is why a lot of you saw purple tint to my hair recently, is because it didn't quite take. And so I had to tint it and the tint took a little too harshly. So yeah, one of the joys of doing beauty routines when you live in the woods is you don't really care what people think anymore. And KT says, don't forget Bigfoot. Yeah. Let's see here. And Jack Brown says, I agree. Don't harvest an animal until you need it. Yes. My thing is harvest it when you need it, only when you need it, and use everything, even if you don't need it, because it's not cool to let it go to waste. That's for sure. Let's see here. There is, I am that wild cards channel link. Thank you for that. And Val says, I like your gun belt. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I have two of them. One was my father's from when I was growing up. And then the other one I had purchased before coming up here. And Gloria Davidson says she loves my son's humor. Yeah, my son's hilarious. When he was younger, I used to put him in a no talking timeout just so I could eat my dinner, because otherwise I couldn't stop laughing long enough to get any food down. That's for sure. And the thing froze again. There we go. Shane Ladow says, I'm a truck driver and would totally be willing to bring things people can't get up there. If you think there's a living to be made that way, let me know. You could just message my channel. So let's get Shane's channel link thrown up here if we could, Ashley. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm sure Shane would appreciate it as well. Let's see here. And Mick Jam says, what about 10 years from now when tasks get harder? Well, I'm one of those people where I believe in taking it day by day and just seeing what happens. But I also know that by staying active now, it'll help me to stay active later. It's like your brain, use it or lose it. And muscles are the same way. So I just plan on staying active and taking care of my body so that hopefully I'm still able to do those things. But who knows, maybe by that time, maybe one of my sons will have moved up here and, have a property close by, or even, renovating the bunkhouse and living in it themselves. So, but it's hard to say what'll happen in the future for sure. But I do get asked that question an awful lot. And there is Raised in Alaska's channel link. So be sure to check out Raised in Alaska. Great channel. If you want to see some fabulous scenery of Alaska and moose, that is your channel for sure. So good to see you here. Also Raised in Alaska. Appreciate it. Facts of Life Test says, I'd love to do an Alaskan life, but I'm from the UK and wouldn't know where to start. Well, you could always move to one of the cities where it might be a little bit more similar to the life you're living now, and then start making your way out from there as you pick up more and more skills about how to live in Alaska. That's always an idea as well. But I think everyone who wants to live here should have the opportunity to follow their dreams. Diane says, will Dewey be coming back anytime soon? I love these antics. Yes, actually, Dewey and the crew are going to be making special guest appearances in a coming up video. So at least one coming up video, maybe two before the end of the year. We'll see. But yeah, I hear rumors that they're they're looking to use that new bathroom of mine. Let's see here. Tom G says, how do you get power? Consider using solar. So I am fortunate enough that there is an existing power pole on my property. So I get all my power from the electric company. I didn't have to pay to bring power here, luckily. And that was put in the 80s. So it was 10 years after this cabin was built. But I am reluctant to use solar here just simply because of the fact that the sun here, and I know I'm going to get a lot of people that say, oh, you'll still get some energy, but the sun here rarely makes its way above the horizon. It never makes its way above the tree line in the wintertime. And yeah, it's only about 3 months out of the year that that's really the case. And then you start getting a couple hours each day where it's above the trees. But the other thing is it's really cloudy here. Even though this is a very dry area of Alaska, there's a lot of cloud cover here. And I just don't think I would benefit that much from the solar. Even though I'm also trying to reduce my dependency upon the electric grid. My thing is if the power goes off, the power goes off. It's not a big deal to me. I have 4 freezers in my home. That's probably about the one thing that I would probably be worried about the most. So I might get a small generator just for those, but I'm also thinking about moving those so that if the power goes off, it's not a big deal that they'll stay in a frozen state during the winter months. And in the summer months, then I could possibly use solar to back those up. But at this point, I'm not considering solar. But that's a great question. Lori LeCue says, is there helicopter service for emergency medical conditions? Yes, there is. So there are 2 helicopter emergency services in Alaska, Guardian and LifeMed. I think LifeMed is the more popular one, at least in this area. And there's also ambulance services and things like that. So typically what happens in this area of Alaska is, and for those of you who are new here and maybe aren't familiar with where I'm located in the Copper River Basin on the side of Alaska that's closer to Canada than it is to Anchorage or Fairbanks or anything like that. And so this area of Alaska is very sparsely populated as well. And ambulance service will take you generally up to one of the airports, to like Olcana Airport, and then you'll be flown out by one of the emergency services like LifeMed or Guardian. If they're not available to fly you out by helicopter or by plane, then they might have to ambulance you all the way into Anchorage for medical care. But yes, they are an option here for sure. And we did lose our ambulance service in this area for a short period of time. But luckily we were able to make some arrangements to keep it going for at least a short time more. So we do have ambulance service back in this area. Brian says, care to mention what if nasty little habits you find you left once moving up north alone? Curious how it cleans up a person or out. Eating out was definitely a habit that I had back in Colorado. Fast food, I would say more than anything. So because there's no fast food in this area whatsoever, that is something that, I've, don't do. When I'm in town, I don't even stop at the fast food joints there. So with the exception of I have eaten McDonald's a couple times when heading out of town. But no, the fast food would probably be the one thing that I would say that I gave up. Yeah. Trying to think if there was anything else, but definitely fast food. Shane says, you were thinking of me earlier. How totally cool. I think about all of my viewers and subscribers that I'm aware of. I see all of the comments. I got a comment earlier that I never answer comments. And that anyone who's leaving a comment is just leaving it for the other commenters. But I actually read every single comment. I need to get in the habit of sitting down and actually answering the comments. I need to get back to my members and answer their comments because my members are, a perk that I offer them is priority comments, and then I fall behind on even answering those. So I do apologize. But again, it is, it's a busy life here. Even though it's a simple life, it's a busy life. So I do apologize, but I do remember names, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. And I think about you guys all the time, whether you know it or not. You guys are always on my mind. So I appreciate all of you. Jack Brown says he loves watching documentary movies and videos. I'm the same way. I do love documentaries. If I'm going to watch a movie, I would prefer to watch an action movie or a drama. Those are probably my two favorites. And then after that, it's goofy things. Like last night, I watched Blazing Saddles, which is hilarious, So, Linda Mann says, same novels put me to sleep. Reference manuals it is. Yes, I do love my reference manuals. Sylvia says, is it windy out? Maybe that's affecting the internet. No, it's actually very calm outside right now, which has been nice. Jay Sunset says, run into any Bigfoots? No, I seem to be missing them all the time. All the time. Though I have seen, that's the other weird thing I've seen here is I've seen some random feet prints that don't make any sense because it'll just be one footprint, but not an accompanying footprint or sets of prints. To me, it seems very weird. I've seen them where they look like a small woman's foot. And I've seen them where it's clearly a bear's paw print. And I've seen them where they're much larger and they look like they could be a Bigfoot's paw print or footprint. So yes. But I've not actually seen Bigfoot himself. And that Starlink is froze again. So one moment, folks. I'm trying. Come on, internet. So question is, does it stay dark there yet? Here in this part of Alaska, I'm far enough down that it doesn't ever get completely dark outside. This time of the year, well, as I get closer to Christmas and then into January, there will be a period where I'll have about 5 hours of daylight a day. And during that 5 hours, it's never really completely bright outside, but it's not completely dark either. It's more like dusk outside. If you want complete darkness, you have to get further north up into the Arctic. So here right now, let's see here. I'll look on the weather up because I don't pay attention to it too much, but let's see here. Sunrise is about 8:30 in the morning currently, and then the sun goes down about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But it won't be long, and the sun will be coming up about 10 o'clock in the morning and going down about 3:30 in the afternoon. And then in the summertime, even though we are supposed to get about 5 hours of nighttime, it is honestly bright outside 24 hours a day. Midnight, I can still see, clear down to the tree line, which is about a half an acre away from the house. So, but not completely dark here during the year. Let's see here. Scott says, need to find out how do I go about getting there? Do I need a visa, job, etc.? Yep. I think you would probably need a visa for sure to get here. And I'm not sure what the other requirements are to move here from another country, but that is a good question. That is something that would be good to know for everybody who's looking to move here from anywhere outside the United States. And there is Scott at Rambling with the Brums channel link. So thank you for that. And Grizzly Acres Homestead is just stopping in. Make sure you check out their channel as well. And here is their channel link. So thanks for stopping in, Grizz. I do appreciate that. And Julie is asking, what is the next project on the cabin? After this, I believe it's going to be the stairs on the inside of the cabin. Those stairs definitely need to be done, I should say. I do have a funny statement, though, here. I got some new glasses. And one of the comments that I've always had about wearing my glasses is that when you're somebody who falls down, you have a tendency to watch where you walk. To look at where every foot is going, every footstep is going so that you don't fall. And I made a comment that I cannot wear my old glasses and watch my feet Well, I also can't wear these ones and watch my feet very easily. I have to look out of the very top of my glasses. And same thing with looking at the monitor. It's very difficult to look at the monitor through those glasses as well. So need to work on the stairs though, so I don't fall down the stairs. But the reason I brought up the glasses is because I tried to wear my new glasses and go down the stairs. That's not a good idea. I'll just say that much. Linda Mon is asking about hot springs. There are hot springs in Alaska. There are none close to where I live. The most popular one would be Chena Hot Springs. So that's the one that a lot of people visit and go to. I'm not a hot springs type person. I actually prefer the cold. And I'm not much of a water person. Like I don't like to go swimming or things like that. So probably would never see me in the hot springs. And Charlotte Commenda says, thank you for honoring our servicemen and women. You are welcome. And thank you for everybody who has served in our military or in our hospitals or law enforcement, any service field out there, really. Thank you, everybody, for doing your part to make this country as great as it is. So I really appreciate everyone. And back to the being towed out of McCarthy Road, it was $1,600 to be towed out. That is a lot of money, $1,600 to be towed out. I'm not sure how far back Eco was, if they were clear back by McCarthy themselves or just somewhere back on the road. But yikes, that is a lot of money, a lot of money. And Scott is saying to come cruising with us in the Cruise Alaska 25. So that's Scott and his crew. I'm not planning on going on a cruise, but there is the opportunity to go cruising with Rambling with the Brums. Be sure to check out his channel to find out more details about that. So Scott is saying to Tess, yes, I was just having fun. You would need a work visa, especially a job. There aren't many jobs up in Alaska, so it's very hard to find something specific. Yes, that is true. But I do have a video about finding your perfect job in Alaska. You can go back into my playlist and you can search in there and search a job or employment, and it'll bring up that video for you. Also, a video about finding land in Alaska and what to do before you purchase your land. So if you're looking to move to Alaska, I have lots of videos about living remotely, subsistence living, finding employment, and things like that. So keep it going as far as, looking through those videos, and you'll find exactly what you're looking for, I hope. Bear Up Farm says, what is the biggest town do you live? What is the biggest? I'm sure it's where is the biggest town nearest to where I live? That would be Glen Allen. Glen Allen. And I don't know how many people live in Glen Allen, but that would be the closest big town to where I live. And it's not even really that big. It has a bank, 2 banks, I think. 2 banks and a little grocery store and a couple gas stations. But it's not that big of a town. And NC is asking, what, if anything, do I miss from the lower 48? I would say my family, my kids, and my mom, my sister, brother. Yeah, that's really it. I don't really miss the lower 48 itself, just family. That would be it. And then here says, do you watch the channel Bush Radical with Dave Whipple? Yes. I do actually watch Dave Whipple on Bush Radical, and he's starting a new channel. For those of you who are looking to start a YouTube channel, he's going to start a how to YouTube type channel. I just saw that. He put that out yesterday or the day before. But yes, I do. I actually like his style of talking through his videos. He's got a very unique way of doing his videos. So he's got a great channel. And Sweeper's Girl says, I'd be terrified living in Alaska alone. I think it's a mindset, for one thing. Is I don't have a whole lot of fears in life. I would tell you what my fears are, but you'd probably giggle at them. Maybe not. But I don't have a whole lot of fears. But I know, like, if you're afraid of things that go bump in the night, living alone in Alaska is probably not the place you want to be, because you'd probably be like, was that a bear? What was that? But I don't have those fears. I don't scare easily. And Ace, how are you doing tonight? Ace, always good to see you. Ace is asking, how's it going with the tub room? It looks awesome. Well, still some work to be done. But like I said, hopefully that'll be this week's video will be the final reveal on that. Grizzly is saying, hey guys, shocked at all the hellos. Well, we're all glad to see you here. Let's see here. CLS says, any tips or advice for someone considering a move to the Kenai Peninsula for work? Yes, the advice that I would have if you're looking to buy land there or move onto property there, make sure it's someplace high and dry. The Kenai Peninsula has a lot of areas that are kind of boggy or swampy, if you will. So just be cautious of the land that you're going to be moving onto. Other than that, I don't know a whole lot about the Kenai Peninsula, other than it's absolutely beautiful down there. And it also depends upon where on the peninsula that you're planning on moving to. And Ira says, were you able to vote in Alaska? Yes, there are polling places all over Alaska. So yes, I was able to get to the polls and vote. And thank you to everybody who put out their vote this year, regardless of the candidate you voted for. It's awesome that everyone has that opportunity. And let's see here. Randy's asking if I have found any gold. No, I have not been panning though. I do hope to go panning for gold, but I myself have not done it yet. So the answer to that question is no. But you know who has is Rob over at Curmudgeon. He has done some gold panning and has come up with a little bit. So maybe check out his channel and see what he's found there. And Alaska Cut the Cord is asking Matt AK when he's planning on coming back up to Alaska. Facts of Life says she's a qualified nurse, but I haven't enough money set up on my own. There's always positions for nurses in Alaska, Tess. Always positions for nurses all over Alaska. That's one thing that's always in demand. So you should be just fine in being able to find a job here for sure. Richard Beck is asking, have you got much snow yet? Not yet. Less than a foot of snow on the ground. First storm left about 3 inches. Second storm was about a foot, but it's compacted down to just under a foot right now. And next storm is due in, I think, on Saturday. Matt AK says he might be coming back up after May when his lease ends. And he's going to try to spend all summer bumming around in an RV up there. Well, that'll be awesome if you can do that. And there is Grizzly Acres Homestead's channel link, so be sure to pay him a visit. Titus and Jackie says, I get asked all the time if I'm scared living alone in the woods here too. And I bet that if you're like me living there, you're probably not all that scared, at least not anymore if you were when you first got there. Daniel says it could be someone shooting lasers from far away. I don't know how they would be doing that. They'd have to be pretty high up to get them down on the ground. And there was nothing above head when it happened. So, but that is a possibility, but they'd have to be pretty high up. Anything in the trees, I would have been able to see. So Old School Alaska has put up Alaska Cut the Cord's channel link. So be sure to check out Adam and Phyllis over at Alaska Cut the Cord. And Lori LeCue is saying, is there helicopter service for medical emergencies? Yep, we just covered that. And Michael Self-Preservation and Awakening says, do you realize HARP has the largest weather warfare modification fields shrouded on hundreds of acres in Alaska? Yes, it's actually in my backyard is where that is at. Not literally, but it is not too far from where I live is where the HARP facility is. In fact, I believe they actually have 2 of them up here. Don't quote me on that, but I know there's at least one that's not too far from where I live. And Mary says, orbs are associated with Sasquatch. Whatever you do, don't touch them. Some are plasma like herd. Some blue ones are not good. They can be different colors. So the orb that I saw in the tree was so far away I couldn't have gotten to it even if I wanted to. And when I've seen the blinking lights in the trees, they only come for a few seconds and then they're all gone. Like I said, that's the reason I haven't been able to show them on camera. Plus, it's very faint. But as a lot of people think they see orbs in my cabin, That is literally dust. It is dust that's being picked up when I have the flash on in my camera when I'm filming. Cabin is dusty as it is because of the wood stove and, just the dust that comes in from living on a dirt road and things like that. But a lot of times people think that it is orbs when it really probably is not. Diane Kelly says, I discovered your channel in June while I had the flu. Binge watched all the episodes. Love your channel. I've been to Alaska 3 times. Love winter there. It is beautiful. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you watching the channel as much as you have. That is awesome. And I'm hoping that you're feeling much better now for sure. Let's see here. Scott Balcom says HARP isn't run by the government anymore. It's run by Fairbanks University. Good to know. Thanks for telling us that, Scott. Appreciate it. April says, while those strange lights would be a little bit creepy living alone, I live alone too, but in a large city, I'd love to know what they are caused by. Yeah, me too. I've had people say that the lights in the trees, the little lights that I'm seeing, are phosphorescence that the trees produce themselves, but I've never been able to find anything about that. And I've heard other people in Alaska talk about the lights in the trees as well. So it's not just something that I think I'm experiencing. In fact, I've had people out at my property that have said, did you just see that? Did you see those lights? And they saw them before I ever did. So after that, then I started seeing them and I was like, wow, okay, now I know what they were talking about. So, and Arlen says, I'm just reviving a passion of mine from my youth for fly fishing. I'm curious, Alone, do you enjoy fly fishing? I love to fly fish, but I have to admit my favorite way of fishing is to use a fly and a bubble. Not a bobber, but a bubble. And I learned that from an older gentleman when I was younger. I was teaching myself how to fish, and I was out at this little reservoir, and he was fishing, and he was reeling in fish after fish after fish, and I was not having any luck. And so I asked him what he was using, and he showed me these little clear bubbles. You fill it up with water, and you stick the little stopper in it that the line feeds through the stopper. And so it's got air and water in it. So it has some buoyancy and floats on top of the water. And he said, you take a line and you string it out about 1.5 times as long as your fishing rod, and you put this fly on it. And the flies he were using were just microscopic little tiny flies. And he's like, you just cast it out there as far as you can cast it and reel it in, and you will catch a fish. And after that, I had the best success. So that's what got me really hooked on using flies. But as far as actually fly fishing with a fly rod, I do love to fly fish with a fly rod, but fly and bubble on a spinning rod is by far my absolute favorite. But I hope you have a lot of luck and a lot of fun catching fish, Arlen, with a fly rod. It can be a blast for sure. Mountain Mariner saying to Lori, private and military helicopters will come rescue you if needed. This is true. And there is April's channel link, so be sure to give her a visit and check her out. Let's see here. Cindy is asking if I'll cut down a Christmas tree this year and video it while you decorate it. No. I'm for a couple of reasons. One is the spruce trees, when they dry out, when the needles dry out, that first Christmas I put up the spruce needles in my chandelier in my kitchen. When the spruce needles dry out, they smell like cat urine. And so I don't want to bring that into the house. That smell is horrific. And then the other reason is I don't actually have very many Christmas decorations. I just have the few little crystal snowflakes and icicles. A couple, I guess I do have those red ornaments I bought. But no, I probably will not cut down a Christmas tree. I've thought about, putting lights on one outside, but I also don't want to necessarily drag the lights out there and what for, it's like for me and just for a video, I probably wouldn't do it. But we'll see what I come up with this year for Christmas. But I'm probably not going to ever cut down a tree just to bring it in the house. Let's see here. Red Like Wine is saying you can't send a lot of things to Hawaii either. Yeah, I believe it. Any place that they have to fly things in, it becomes very hard for them to send all the things that you're used to getting in the lower 48. Julie says, I'm loving all the new channels you're recommending. That's awesome. That is great. There's so many channels about Alaska and in Alaska that there's a little bit of something for everybody. And Lois from Ohio says, do you have to live in Alaska a long time before they give you money for living there? You have to live here for one entire year. So meaning from January 1st through December 31st, and then it'll be the next year that you would be able to apply for the permanent fund dividends. And again, you have to apply for it. It's not just automatically granted to you. There are certain qualifications that you have to meet. Like you have to have been here for the entire year, or you could have only left for less than like 90 days or 30 days or something like that. Amongst a whole other bunch of things, but you can always find that out by going into myalaska.com and typing in PFD, and it'll give you all the requirements there. But yes, you have to live here for one consecutive year from the first of the year to the 31st. It isn't like from April 1st to, March 31st. It's January 1st to December 31st. Belle says, since I'm a new subscriber, I was wondering if you have a garden or plan to grow what you can, if you can. Yes, I have a small garden right now. It is actually productive, but not in the best location of my property. It sits on the north side of my cabin. And because of all the sunshine we get here, it still does produce quite a bit. It's really small. And I want to plant so many things that it just like gets cramped, and then some things get shaded out, like my carrots and my beets, which did not do good this year. But I have plans to put a big garden behind the cabin, and that will happen once I get that fenced in and get a greenhouse back there as well. So a couple of years from now, probably might not happen this next year, but it'd be really nice if it could. And thank you for subscribing, by the way, too, Val. I appreciate it. Amongst everybody else who has subscribed, I appreciate all of you. Let's see here. Static in the dry winter air could cause lights, possibly. Yeah, it could be, especially considering how dry it is here. Usually, though, I've seen the lights in the fall, like when it starts to turn night here again. And then the big orb I saw was like the end of April, beginning of May. So who knows? Quite possibly, still, though, could be static for sure. Matt is asking, so the next time I drive up, should I bring camera, battery, Sharpies, and engines for Rob? Yes. You could just probably set up a Sharpie stand and sell them to all the Alaskan people that can't get Sharpies sent up from Amazon instead of a lemonade stand. Big Show says, awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Alaska Cut the Cord says, I'm sure Rob and Adam would happily compensate you for making a haul like that. Absolutely. Let's see here. Sorry if I'm way behind on questions. I do apologize as I'm trying to weed through everything, and I know I get long-winded, so I do apologize. Lisa is saying, I love your channel. I also live remote, sending love and light and positive vibes from North Arizona. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Lois says your viewers should remember to click that like button. Thank you for the reminder as well. That helps the channel a lot. And also it helps YouTube to feed you other things similar to my channel so that you get, recommendations of things that you like. MD says a lot of things Americans don't know. If you have been arrested for DWI, DUI, OVI, I don't know what an OVI is, you are considered a felon in Canada. So if driving, better check it out before you go. This is true. You cannot get into Canada if you've had a DWI or DUI. And again, like, I don't know what an OVI is. But yes. And the other reason, like when I came up here, I did not come up through Canada because I was coming up with firearms. And also because I had Kenai with me and I didn't want to take any chances with them not letting him through for lack of vaccine records or whatever. But even coming up on the ferry, you have to have your dog fully vaccinated before they can enter the state of Alaska, whether you're coming up on a plane or ferry or through Canada. So that I had done, but I had a number of firearms and ammunition that I came up with. So I was not going to come up through Canada just simply because of that reason alone. And look, there's JR. Woo! JR, how was your dinner? I hope it was good. JR had dinner with a friend tonight, so he's a little late to the show, but I'm glad he made it nonetheless. Big Show says, I like NPR, but they're Democrats. So NPR, I used to listen to NPR all the time when I was working a night shift, and I would just have it on. And I listened to it so much that I realized that they repeat their programs every 4 hours. Every 4 hours, you're going to hear the same thing you heard 4 hours previously. Let's see here. Nina says, old country music is the best. I do agree with that. Diane Kelly is saying, did you serve in the military? Wondering if that's where you got some of your survival skills. No, I did not serve in the military. I'm not former law enforcement or anything like that. I have family that was military and both law enforcement, but my survival skills came from just trial and error and a lot of YouTube and a lot of, again, reference guides. But just doing it, just living it, going out there and living the life. That's how I really got to where I'm at today. And Morgan Wallen is also another great country artist that I do enjoy as well. And let's see here, looking for some more questions. R&M says, weird. Same blue orb seen in Copper Basin area in the late 1970s. That's weird because you're the only other person who's ever said they've seen it or mentioned somebody else seeing it. So yeah, everyone else is like had no clue. But I have heard people say they've mentioned the lights that they've seen in the trees in Alaska, but not a blue orb like that. So I'm hoping it's a positive thing no matter what. But there's Ed Kirkpatrick's channel link, so be sure to check them out. Big Show says, do you have a cat and a dog? I have a dog. His name is Kenai. He is at my feet right now sleeping, but I do not have a cat. I know a lot of people say I should get a cat because it would help keep the mice out of the cabin that come in every fall and then again in the spring. They're never in wintertime and never in the summer. Do I have the mice come in? They hibernate in the wintertime here because they're meadow jumping mice. But I'm getting a cat until this guy goes away because I don't want him eating the cat. So let's see here. And Kenai's paws are moving, so I keep hearing something. Sorry for the quietness here. I am looking for some questions up on the screen. MD says, get a clicker for that dog. Retain you and the dog will follow. Training a dog is about retraining the person. Yeah, I'm just not interested in retraining Kenai. He will come if I call him. But what my fear is with Kenai is that if he sees a moose or anything like that, he's going to take off after it. In fact, he's done that already, and he's actually broken his lead, which is one of those braided wire, that has a plastic coating on it that's rated for a 150-pound dog. He's broken 2 of those already, taking off after a moose. So that's why I keep him on a lead. And future dogs will also either be on leads or they'll be behind fences because I'm not going to lose a dog to chasing off after an animal. I know some people don't agree with that, but that's how I plan on doing it, at least. Big Show says that he's in Clarksville, Georgia, and has bears, panthers, and coyotes. So panthers are one thing that Alaska does not have. There have been rumors of panthers coming over from Canada, but they are not natural here, and they're not seen very often. So David Pilates has, I'm sure I mispronounced that name, has a YouTube channel. He made classes on Sasquatch on his channel to teach people about them. Very interesting. Well, that's something I have to check out then. And there's Scott's Life Off Grid. So be sure to check that channel out as well. Lots and lots of channels on here for everyone to check out. Faye says, hi, Alone. I'm a new sub this week. I marathon binge watch your videos. You are awesome. Well, thank you for that. I do greatly appreciate that. And Breakaway the Chain says, did you ever find another remote job? No, YouTube is my only source of income right now. This is how I make my money, is by doing YouTube. So, uh, yeah, I'm not really looking to go out and finding another job. I did help out a friend this summer, set up their cabins for the summer travel season. But other than that, nope, it's just YouTube. That's what I'm doing to make the ends meet around here. Let's see here. Apologize. But again, if you have questions, it's best if you put like a thumbs up emoji or something like that in front of it. It'll help me to see them easier. Gloria Davidson says, I love the way you promote other Alaskan YouTubers. Honestly, I can't think of anyone else that does that. Well, we're a big family here in Alaska. That's for sure. So I know Rob and Sarah over at Curmudgeon and Adam and Phyllis over at Alaska Cut the Cord. They are always promoting other channels as well, especially those channels that are, in their live streams and things like that. So big family, love all the channels. And like I said, there are so many different channels here. You're bound to see something that appeals to you, or maybe that can teach you something that one of the others is not. And Practicality Creative says, do you have access to your roof from inside at all? Safe access? No, I do not. So the only way I can access the chimney to clean it is from outside. And the only way I can access being up there is from actually climbing up onto the roof. But the ladder is actually mounted to the building. So the ladder can't come down, get pushed down from snow or anything like that. And then, like I said, I do have a safety harness for when I have to be on the roof. So I feel a lot safer up there now than I have been, but I'm also very cautious about when I'm going up there. Like if I don't have to go up there, I'm not going up there. I'll just put it to that way. Let's see here. Steve says, hi there. You're such an inspiration to me. In fact, my goal is to move to Alaska. I repair and replace anything. Yep. That's what, you have to do when you live in Alaska is repair and replace, but mainly repair, because it gets very expensive to replace. Oh, David has clarified what OVI means. Operating a vehicle while impaired. Makes sense. And let's see here. Mary says, I love the smell of pine branches and cedar branches inside the house at Christmas. Great for natural decor at Christmas. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, the spruce, though, and it might just be the type of spruce that I have on my property. But the um the spruce does smell like cat urine, unfortunately, when it dries. It is not a pleasant smell. Let's see here. Maddie says, do your kids think you're crazy? No, they knew that I was going to move up here from the time they were very young, very little. They knew that I'd be moving to Alaska. So no, they definitely don't think I'm crazy. They're outdoorsy as well, and they, probably follow in their mom's footsteps, but in their own way somehow. And Douglas says that his questions are not making it. So if you want to ask again, Douglas, if I didn't see it, I do apologize. I'm trying to find the questions, but again, remember, put up a thumbs mark or something like that, some type of emoji, so I can spot it easier. And Raised in Alaska says, do you have any Christmas traditions that you'll celebrate at your cabin? No. So I've never really been real big on celebrating holidays. um, Possibly because I'm an introvert and holidays generally involve lots of people. So I don't really have a whole lot of traditions as far as holidays are concerned, especially Christmas. Um, but yeah, maybe it's time that I came up with some of my own, start a new tradition for my life here in Alaska. You might be onto something there, Raised. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm still looking for those questions. Is there are other kinds of cryptid creatures aside from Sasquatch, by the way. They tested the DNA of Sasquatch. It's human, female, and male of an extinct animal. That is very interesting to know. Eric says, I was not trying to be rude, was just a question. Been watching a long time, haven't seen any. I'm sorry if I missed your question, Eric. I apologize. Big Show says, I know how to train a vicious dog, how to love cats. You keep them on a leash, the whole end for hand on the couch leg for a month or two, and the cats rock around them, and you use a spray bottle. Yeah, possibly so. I just don't have a couch. I don't have anything heavy enough to hold Kenai. Kenai is very, very strong. So, but yeah, I could imagine that that could work. MD says, do you have one pot in the kitchen? I bought a Ninja Foodie in November 19 and have only used it 4 times since. Yeah, I don't know what a Ninja Foodie is, but I don't have any electric appliances in my kitchen. No electric mixer, no yeah, nothing. I use my wood cook stove, or it's not a wood cook stove, sorry. My wood stove to heat the cabin when I'm not using my oil burner, and then I use a butane camp stove to cook on. But I don't have any electric appliances. Mute says, so if you're not wanting to be in the cities, what does Alaska need that someone's looking to move there could do to make income? That is a good question. For someone who's not wanting to live in the city, there's hitch work that you can do where you can work, in some of the gold mining camps, or in the oil producing areas, cities like Barrow, Prudhoe Bay, Red Dog, um, Pogo Mines, places like that. There's also fishing vessels that you can work on, things like that that are outside the city. Um, you could start a logging company where you're harvesting firewood and breaking that down for people, bucking it up and splitting it. Yeah, it's hard. There's not a whole lot of industry where I live. So, in fact, I would say there's like really no industry where I live, but unless you want to just, live within your means, which is the one thing that I would say most people have to do here is definitely live within your means and get a job working like at the local bank or at the, grocery store in the town or whatever. It's hard to find work in the rural areas of Alaska. That is for sure. And Practically Creative says, I asked about the roof because I want to know if there was a safe way to add at least some solar to your cabin. Yeah, if I got solar, I would probably though put it out in the field where I could access it to clean off the panels as opposed to putting it on the roof. I probably wouldn't do that because of how high the roof is. But yeah, that's a great question, actually, for sure. And Maddie says, what do the kids think? The kids love it. They love the fact that I'm here and they know that I'm happy, and um that's what makes them the happiest as well. So Sand Dollar says, how I found all of you was first from Sean Alaska. Sean Alaska is also another great channel. So if you're not checking out Sean, make sure that you do for sure. Um, Mary says, I heard grizzlies can smell food from 20 miles away. I don't know if it's quite 20 miles, but yes, from many miles away, they can definitely smell food. That is for sure. Um, Practically says, I found the remote Alaska YouTubers because of a shout out on a sewing channel, Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Well, that's very cool. I'll have to look them up if you can leave a link to them. Well, otherwise, make sure to tell them thank you for me. That is awesome. Seabass says popcorn, those red berries or cranberries strung along a tree window tree or window is very pretty. I agree with that for sure. Absolutely. Time consuming to make, but very, very pretty. Douglas says, have you ever seen a pack of wolves? I have not seen the wolves, but I have heard them. They've been right behind the cabin a couple of times this past summer, very close. Like I would say just the other side of the tree line is where they were, probably where the pond is at. But I've not actually seen a pack of wolves. I've seen individual wolves. The people that I do know in the area, they've also seen wolves. Right, in fact, on the road right in front of my cabin, they saw them. They were telling me. So they're around. When I first arrived here, um, I had wolves that had surrounded the cabin when I was trying to bring in groceries, but I did not see the wolves. I just heard them, um, thinking it was a bear because I could hear them making noise off around the cabin until I tapped on the the post out in front of the cabin, and then they all started in, and I realized that was not a bear. So grabbed Kenai and we came inside. Jane Darby says, did you try the peppermint oil in the corners for mice? I tried peppermint oil when I first got here. In fact, I had a brand new bottle of peppermint oil, and I had, you know, doused a few cotton balls with it and set it out by where I had a mouse coming in on the main floor of the cabin. And the mouse still came up. It did not care that those peppermint doused cotton balls were sitting there. So I took the bottle, actually poured it around the opening where I could see the mouse coming in. This was before I realized just cover the stupid opening. Um, and um, and laid the bottle there on its side, and they still were coming up. They could care less. The mice could absolutely care less about the peppermint oil. And one other thing here that I've noticed about the mice is they will not eat peanut butter. I could put peanut butter out on a spoon. I could put peanut butter out on a trap. They will not touch the peanut butter. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something in the peanut butter. Doesn't matter what brand of peanut butter it is either. They just will not touch it. But what I wind up using is meat sticks in the old-fashioned traps, and I get them all the time. As soon as I put a trap out, when I know that there's a mouse in the cabin, I'll get the mouse. So those things work great for me. And like I said, I only have the mice come in a couple of times a year, and it's not that many mice. It's like usually 1 to 2 mice, and then they're gone, and I don't have them. No signs of mice anymore after that. So, but I know it works. It's not working with these mice for whatever reason. They could care less about the peppermint oil. They're like, thanks for the scent. I'm still coming in. Uh, and let's see, I already answered that question. Mary says, have you ever done any needlepoint or some GYP of crafts as a hobby? I don't know what GYP is. Some group of crafts as a hobby. So yes, I have done needlepoint, cross stitch as well. When I was younger, a lot younger, hand embroidery, things like that. I used to do paper crafts as a hobby, but that is so wasteful. Like when you're doing paper crafts, you wind up with so much scrap and stuff like that that I just don't have room for stuff like that. Um, I'm a very practical person, so now like any crafting that I do would be sewing, just for personal needs, things that I need to wear or mend or things like that. So, uh, Douglas says, walk across your property. Yes, the wolves have walked across my property. I've seen their tracks and things like that. But I've never seen them on the trail cams. Uh, I am very guilty though. I'm trying to look on my desk right now and see where the SD cards are. I'm very guilty of not putting the SD cards back in the trail cams after I check them. So probably out there, I always think the bears walk by as soon as I take the trail cam SD cards out. So, and that's probably true. Um, but Mountain Mariner says, rock with me. It's 41 degrees here at Hitchenbrook Island in Alaska tonight, raining and windy. So it's really warm where you're at. That's for sure, Ed. Practicality says, new Christmas tradition, candlelight bath in your beautiful bathtub. Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. David Hoyle says, you have beautiful eyes. Well, thank you for that. And I'm not sure how you say your name. Silly Wabbit. That's a good channel name. Says, putting questions in all caps is an easy way to identify them. That is true. Let's see here. MD says, I want kitchen recipes from Alone, Alaska. Come on, take us cooking. That hooks some more viewers. I know I need to get back to cooking. That's one of the reasons I want to get the bathroom done, believe it or not, is because the dining area has been a staging ground for materials. And so I need to get that kitchen back to being just a kitchen and not a staging area for construction. That's for sure. And then I'll get back to doing some cooking. I promise you guys. I know I keep saying that. M. Rackham says you might collaborate with Shook's Outdoors channel. He makes Bigfoot videos in the Anchorage area. Well, thank you for that. And I did see your email the other day, by the way, M. Rackham. So thank you also for your advice. It is greatly appreciated. And Bear Up Farm says, I'm a new subscriber. Great channel. I live totally off grid and build my own house and away from city or town. I love your remodeling of your cabin. Well, thank you for that. And appreciate you being a subscriber as well. And let's see here. Crimson Red says, Alone, do you plan on adding a wood cook stove? I do plan on adding a wood cook stove. The one that I'm looking at is a JR Roby stove. Unfortunately, there are no distributors for them in Alaska. So it's something that I'll have to either ship in from Canada or from a distributor in the lower 48. But yes, I am definitely planning on replacing my stove with a wood cook stove. Absolutely. Big Show says, will you take us shopping in an Army Navy store or on a live show sometime near you? Sure, I would love to do that. I actually don't know. That's a good question. I don't actually know where there is an Army Navy store in Alaska. I love the Army Navy surplus stores. That's a good thing. But on a live show sometime, I'd have to do it on my phone, and we'll see how well that works. The cell signal that I have on my phone, believe it or not, even though the company is like in the Glen Ellen area, I have the worst cell signal on that phone. It's horrible, but we'll see. I will definitely try. No promises. And Maddie says, I thought it was brilliant that you do not have running water inside because it makes sense about water leaks, damages, and the cost of repairs. Yes, this is why I took it all out. Like, I don't have a problem with running water per se, but having water leaks, I've just lived in too many houses where I've had either water backing up from the main drain or water heaters that have gone out or leaks from leaky toilets or leaky seals or I do not like wood and water are a bad combination. I will just tell you that much right now. They do not go well together. But speaking of water heaters, I had gotten a question on one of my recent videos. It was actually a comment. Somebody said something about I must have mentioned something. It was actually an older video, and I must have mentioned something about being very difficult to get insurance on my cabin. And the comment was, that doesn't make any sense because they're in the business of selling insurance. Yes, they're in the business of selling insurance, but insurance companies also won't insure things that they think are likely to have a claim made against them. So if you're looking to move into a remote area of Alaska, you might find that it's hard to get your cabin insured. And I just had to go through a fire audit with my insurer, even though I've been with them for the last couple of years. And one of the things they wanted to know was, did I have a water heater in my home? And was my water heater secured to the wall because of earthquakes here? And luckily I was like, no, I don't have a water heater. So that wasn't an issue. But all the things that I had to prove to them about my property were things that I've never had to do in the lower 48. So that's something to be aware of, is that insurance up here is different than it is in the lower 48. And like my property does not qualify for traditional homeowners insurance. So I have what's called dwelling replacement insurance. It basically covers the structure should something happen to it that it needs to be replaced. But yes, insurance is a difficult thing to get up here for sure for your homes when you're living remotely. And Sandy Robinson says, don't you need roofers? If you're asking about, do I need a roofer to come back out to my property? No, because I've had the roof replaced on my property. Will I replace the roof on the bunkhouse? Yes, but that's small enough. I could probably do that one by myself. It doesn't have, any complicated issues with that one. But are roofers needed in Alaska? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Still looking for questions. Anna's saying, I love the work that you've done on the bathroom. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it, Anna, and I appreciate you always watching. I love seeing you in the comments. Liz says, do Alaskan residents still get an annual stipend? Yes, they do. It varies from year to year. And again, you have to live here for a full calendar year and apply for that. And Jack Brown is saying that 8,000 kilowatts solar power will run a complete home. Well, that is good to know. I appreciate that, Jack. And there's Sean in Alaska's channel link. So be sure to pay Sean a visit. Sorry, I was reading ahead and got lost in thought there. Sophie says, I don't see you marking dates on your food in your freezers. How do you keep track of what's been in your freezers the longest and what do you eat first? One is I can remember 98% of what's in the freezers. And I know when something went in. I also, am very, even though you can't see it, some freezers are very organized in what's in them and when it went in. But I also last year did start marking the dates on my food because I realized that I'm probably going to start forgetting when things went in there or what something actually is. Because some things, when they're frozen, you can't tell, if it's this sauce or that sauce. So I did start marking dates on there, but I actually need to organize my freezers a little bit better. So that things are easier to get to, because that's one of the things I've noticed recently is that they're getting a little bit disorganized, and therefore I have a tendency to ignore things in the freezers because I can't get to them easily. Give me 1 second, folks. I need to take a quick drink of water. So, I am not sure how to say your name, so I apologize. I keep skipping over your name, but Ninan, I think, says, I caught a glimpse of your drinking water filter system. Is it a Berkey and do you like it? It is a Berkey and I love it. My kids bought that Berkey for me years and years ago. It's a 3-gallon Berkey system. Berkey always says, don't buy, a larger system than you can possibly drink the water in X amount of time. So like a 3-gallon is really too much for what they recommend for one person, but I love it. I fill up the Berkey, probably go through all that water in a couple of days. So I absolutely love the Berkey. The filters can be a bit pricey, but I find that they last a really long time. They don't last as long on well water as they do on city water, of course. And I don't have fluoride filters on my Berkey now that I'm on well water, but I did when I was back in Colorado. But the point about the filters is that you can clean them with the Scotch Brite, the green Scotch Brite scrub pads. You can clean any of the buildup on your charcoal filters and reuse them. So even though they're expensive, they do last an awful long time. I think 3,000 gallons is what they're rated for per filter. So. And Practicalities asking also to link mom and pop shop link if you can. I appreciate that. MD says a Ninja Foodie is a 7-function appliance, costs $250. Oh my goodness. Bake, roast, broil, air fry, simmer, dehydrate, and sear. And wait, that's not all, folks. I meant 2019 when I got it. Salted pepper channel has all you can do with this beast. Wow. $250. I'm actually a cheapskate. I see $250 and I'm thinking I can do all that with my wood stove. And it doesn't cost me electricity. Sorry. Ace is heading out for the night. It looks like she says, until next time, I'll be thinking about y'all. Have a great turkey day. I'm still listening. Good night, Ace. And thanks for being here. Douglas says, I watched the video where the wolves were howling. Yeah, the wolves were pretty cool that night. They were pretty close and pretty loud. And this guy slept right through it. Kenai slept right through the wolves. He never even heard them. But when I was editing that video, he was growling in the background as I was editing. He was not a fan of listening to them. Let's see here. There we go. There's Mom and Pop Shop link. So thank you for putting that up there. I appreciate that. And I appreciate them recommending the channel also. 907 Pike, Alaska. How are you doing, my friend? Pike is also looking for a maiden. He is in Anchor Point and he's an Orthodox. And he is also the emu farmer. He's the one that got emus allowed in Alaska, believe it or not. So if you're not familiar with 907 Pike, Alaska, be sure to check him out. And if you're interested in moving to Alaska and you're looking for a husband or a boyfriend, maybe hit up 907 Pike, Mountain Mariner, or Matt AK. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to start a dating service. I guess that's what my next business will be a dating service for everyone. All these gentlemen in Alaska that are looking for wives. Moot says to JR, very rural Eastern Oregon here. Always like seeing Oregon folks in chats. Hello. And Douglas says, when the wolves howl, it's like a Dracula movie, kind of eerie. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really, really cool. I definitely like hearing the wolves. My Wild Home says, apparently there are a good amount of wolves that rush around in packs around our island on the ice in winter. One thing we aren't looking forward to. Eek. Yeah, be careful. Be careful. This is another awesome channel, by the way. If everyone has not checked them out, is My Wild Home. They're a fabulous channel and fabulous people as well. So be sure to pay them a visit and see what they have going on. They are building a fabulous place on the island that they live on. You guys, great people, and they have a lot of wonderful live streams as well. So let's see here. One Coke to Go says the wolves used to hide at the edge of pullouts on the Hall Road and snag dogs when tourists would let them out. It was sad. Well, it happens in this area too, which is one of the reasons why Kenai is also on the lead and not allowed to run free, is because of the wolves. When I first moved here, I met a gentleman that worked for the National Park System, and he was telling me to be leery of the wolves. He said they send out their females to lure dogs back because of the scent, and then they take them. And they said, they bark like dogs to attract the dogs over. So yeah, they take dogs here, big dogs as well. So Big Family Expedition is saying Alona's going to have to pull an all-night live stream here. Only 7 there though. Yeah, 7:12. Woo, I'm not that far behind. I'm about 20 minutes though, it looks like. That's not good. 907 Pike is saying flour, sugar, and baking soda. Rodents can't burp, wipes them out. Yeah. So I have in dishes in certain places in the cabin, I have baking soda and flour. I didn't put sugar in it because I didn't want to attract any ants, because ants are a big thing in Alaska. But I do have sugar and baking soda mixed together. And yeah, it dehydrates them too. Like their insides rupture, but not on the outside. And then they dehydrate and you just have a dried rodent to dispose of. It does work out really, really well. There is 907 Pike channel link for everybody if you're interested in checking him out. And if nothing else, if you're in Alaska and you're down in Anchor Point, be sure to check out the emu farm and tell them Alone in Remote Alaska sent you. And Moot says that I need a pet martin. You're welcome, Lowell. Yes, I saw your comment telling me that I need a pet martin. I don't need a pet martin, but I do have a pet ermine. He's not really my pet. He lives outside. But he and I have wonderful conversations about how he needs to step it up and keep the mice at bay, and the squirrels too. So Liz is asking, how do I keep bears from breaking in? So far, I haven't had any issues with bears trying to break in. This cabin's been here for, 54 years now, and it doesn't look like it's had any signs of bears ever trying to break in. One of the things is that I don't keep trash outside. I dispose of my trash right away. So I don't have things smelling up the inside of the house. But if a bear really wanted to get in, a bear is going to get in. I do have plans on um, not really putting up bear-proof shutters, so to speak, but I have some Corten steel grates on a couple of my windows. I'm looking to purchase some more of those. Um, so that's one thing that is hard to get up here is, things like that. But bears, if they want in, they're going to get in. It doesn't matter. You really can't stop them unless you shoot them. That's just really how it comes to it. But I'm proactive about making sure that I don't keep things around that would attract them. So, and Cosmic Sunbeam says peace, earth and peace to earth and heart and love us. Love us. Love us. Sorry, I'm not good with reading emojis. Peace and love to everybody. Yes, I agree with that one. MD says Alaska John is silent at 907 Pike, Alaska. And My Wild Home says, my goodness, to one Coke to go. And let's see here. Here's Big Family Expeditions channel link. Be sure to pay them a visit. And there is My Wild Homes channel link as well. And Ed over at Mount Mariner say, my storage unit in town has rodents. I tried a bar of Irish Spring soap myth. The rodents chew through the bar of soap. So now I have rodents with good breath running around. Oh my goodness. Seabass says, in the medical department of one of the auto companies I worked at, plaster of Paris mixed with cocoa powder on plastic lids works like a charm. They eat it, go away, and never come back. No cleanup. Yep, same thing. The plaster of Paris sets up in their stomach like concrete, and they can't digest it. Douglas says, I saw a video wolves are now forming packs of 100 or more. Yes. In some areas, the packs are huge. I know that Curmudgeon has a pack of wolves also around their property that broke away from the Denali pack. And they're not fearful of people either. They'll come right up to your homes and things like that. So, and Practicality says chickens are the best rodent catchers I've ever seen. Yes, chickens are great at catching mice. That is for sure. Meredith says, well, I'm off to bed. Enjoy your evening. I'll watch more tomorrow. Well, thank you for joining us, Meredith. I appreciate it. I always love having you guys in the chat, and I'm glad to see you were on Curmudgeon's live stream tonight as well. So thank you again. Let's see here. Her second wind says, hi alone, all the way from Guam, USA. I was wondering, is it hard to find a contractor to build a cabin for you? What is expected as far as providing room and board and things? That is a great question. There are contractors who are willing to build cabins. And some of them, yes, are going to request that you provide them with room and board. Whether that's setting them up in a hotel in a, neighboring area or what have you, or providing them with lodging, somewhere on your property in a camper or RV or something like that. But it is hard to find contractors in Alaska, and it's also hard to find contractors that have a good reputation. I'm not saying that they're not out there. They are definitely out there. But when I was looking for a contractor, not only to come out and work on my roof, but when I was looking to build a cabin or have a cabin built for me, it was frustrating. It was very hard to find people that wanted to do the work, that weren't booked out for years, or that didn't have a bad reputation. Like, so you'd be doing a review online of them, and there would just be all sorts of things, out there that you're like, "Ooh, I don't want that guy on my property," or "Oh my gosh," or you read their policies and you're like, "I can't afford that." So it can be very difficult, but the internet is a great resource of finding a contractor and finding out who that contractor really is behind the page of their website. In other words, what their reviewers say of their work and things like that. But it also depends upon where you're moving to, like where you're going to be building a cabin, right? Um, if you're living closer to the Anchorage area or the Fairbanks area or Juneau, one of the major towns, it probably isn't going to be that hard to find somebody to come do the work for you. But when you're living out in the remote areas or rural areas of Alaska, it can be a lot harder, because one of the things I found is that a lot of the people that live out in this area, they came out here for the same reason I did, which was to retire and just live their lives. Um, and so they don't really want to work. And then they wind up getting swept up into working because they have the skills, and maybe something came up that they need to make a little extra money. And then before you know it, they're booked out for the next couple of years. So it can be a toss up, that's for sure. But that is a great question. So thank you for asking that. And thanks for watching all the way from Guam. I appreciate that as well. Maddie says now he wants peanut butter. And Julie says she's going to sleep. Well, good night, Julie. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And it says, Alone, have you ever had to use your gun? I've never had to use my gun, and I hope that I never have to use my gun. But one of the things that I will say is, in case I ever do, it's one of the reasons why I practice all the time, is to make sure that I'm prepared should the day come. But fingers crossed that that need never comes where it's an absolute that I have to use it. Qwerty says, hi from North Korea. Well, hello from North Korea. I'm glad you have internet. Old School Alaska has put up her Second Winds channel link. So thanks for doing that. Appreciate that. Big Family says to Old School Alaska, thanks for posting everyone's channel links tonight. You are the real MVP, and I second that. That is absolutely true. Sorry. My World Home says, I will always watch a cooking video. Sadly, no matter how much I have to edit our own episodes, I'll stop and watch a cooking vid. That's when I get hungry, is when I'm watching the cookie. Sorry, I'm reading. I shouldn't be reading and talking. The cooking vids. And let's see here. KT says, I can't wait to see some of your cooking vlogs. I'm sure they're going to be great. Yeah, like I said, I need to get back into it. It's been a long time since I've done one. The last one I did was actually kind of impromptu, and then I felt bad that I did it because I didn't do it justice. So yeah, that happens. So MD says, I gave Morton Tinder quick ideas to Curmudge for backboard bacon because he bought so much bacon. Oh, that's hilarious. Practicality says, I do the same thing. Editing takes hours because I get distracted. Same here. It definitely does take hours for sure. And again, there's Grizzly Homestead Acres channel link. Thanks again for putting that up, Ashley. And Hippie or Cowgirl Hippie Chick says, thank you to whomever gifted a membership to me. That gifted membership possibly came from Big Family Home Expedition or Big Family Expedition. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships out. And then Scott's Life also gifted 5 memberships. So thank you for doing that. And Scott has been a member of my channel now for 12 months. So thanks again, Scott, for doing that. I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you also to Tom G for the $2 donation. That's greatly appreciated. CC Hawk for the $9.99 super sticker. Appreciate it also. And then also Mute $20. Thank you. Do you have Buy Me a Coffee account or to tip your talker? No, I don't have Buy Me a Coffee, but I do have Patreon where you can tip in there. It's set up to where you can basically tip whatever. I think the minimum it'll let you do is $3. But yeah, I think on my channel on YouTube, it is like $1.99 or something is the lowest on there. Whatever the lowest amount is. Like, I always think if someone wants to just tip one time, they could just come in and become a member for 30 days and then drop off, right? And you could do it for $1.99 or whatever. And if nobody wants to join or wants to tip, that's fine with me too. I do appreciate all of it though. Like, it all means a lot to me. So I appreciate all of you guys. Curmudgeon says, Army Navy is in Wasilla. It's just small. Yeah, they usually are. They're usually pretty tiny, but still, that's pretty cool that it's in Wasilla. I have to check it out. Jack Brown says, as far as having a gun, it's better to have a gun and not need it than it is to need a gun and not have a gun. That I agree with also. One Coke to Go says there's a native man in Wasilla who tells some really scary encounters that the natives up here have had. Yes. Enigmatic Witchin also, I believe, has told some tales of things that the natives have seen up his way as well. So, yeah, I don't doubt any of it. That's for sure. And Janet says that it's frozen, no audio again. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it clears up quickly. Mary Link says the weird YouTube channel is called, I don't know what that was about. Raised in Alaska, raised in Fairbanks. Raised in Alaska says Fairbanks has a really wild Army Navy store. Oh, well, good. Maybe I'll go up to Fairbanks sometime and check it out then. And Vic says, hi, Alone. Don't know if you've heard, but we have 43 monkeys loose in here in South Carolina, having to keep doors and windows locked. I did hear something about that, but I didn't know if that was right now or if that was something that had happened previously. That is really crazy. I pray that they get all those monkeys wrangled up and everyone is fine and no thing happens, because I don't know what kind of monkeys they are. I don't know if they're little monkeys, if they're chimpanzees, what they are, but I'd take my chances with the bears over the monkeys any day. Trust me. So keep my fingers crossed for you guys that you guys are safe, Vic. Ugh. Raised in Alaska's channel link is up on the screen for everybody. Thank you for doing that, Ashley. And Mountain Mariner, the YouTube channel is called Maperton Live. I'm not sure what that one was about. Maybe that was about the Bigfoots. My Wild Home says, smart choice about the water outside of cabin. Same with us in a tiny cabin. Forever cabin will have it. But yes, the water leak issue is a thing. Yes, it is. It is definitely something that I'm not wanting to deal with in the cabin. That's why I took out all the plumbing. Mary says, have you felt any earthquakes? I've only felt one earthquake here. There was actually an earthquake. There was about 5 miles away from the cabin about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I did not feel it. And the earthquake that I did feel here didn't even register on the University of Alaska's, or whoever maintains the earthquake site for Alaska, didn't even register. But it was literally just enough that when I had both of my computers set up, that it knocked the two monitors together, and it lasted for about as long as it took me to get up out of my seat and try to go down the stairs. And I wasn't even out the door before it stopped. So earthquakes in the area where I live are not as frequent as they are elsewhere in Alaska, luckily. One Coke to Go says, my insurance company canceled me when I got the Great Pyrenees. How did they find out that you got the Great Pyrenees, though? That's what I want to know. Like, that's sad too. Like, I know people that have been canceled for a lot less than just the type of dog they have. So insurance is a necessary evil, I guess. I don't know. But I know a lot of people in Alaska too that have cabins like this that they've paid for, right? You don't have a mortgage on it. You own it free and clear, whatever, that they don't have insurance because you just put the money that you would need to rebuild into your bank, or you put it in your mattress money, or you just rebuild from the trees on your property. So a lot of people I know don't have insurance up here as well. And I think there's people probably don't have insurance on their vehicles also. But I did see the other day when I went into town to replace my microphone that there was a cop sitting on the side of the road that had a license plate reader. So that's a thing here in Alaska, which I didn't know about, but I do now. And I didn't get stopped. I just happened to go in. I hitched a ride into town with some friends of mine, and they were the ones that explained to me what I was seeing. So I didn't get stopped. I wasn't even driving. But Douglas says, can you try an on-demand tankless water heater, cheap and simple? So I've had experiences with on-demand tankless water heaters before. And yeah, while they're inexpensive and they're pretty simple to use, you also have to let the water go through them for 30, 40 seconds to a minute before the water actually heats up. And that's a lot of water to waste when you're hauling water in. And the other thing is like I have wood stove that in the wintertime is, going. I don't use the wood stove all the time, believe it or not. But when I do have it going, it's heating up the water for me and it's at the ready then. So, and in the summertime, it's very easy to just like heat water up on the butane and just take a quick doused shower. Yeah, I don't actually need that much water. So, but it is a simple solution that I know a lot of people go with for sure. And Debbie says, anyone else seeing her video very grainy or freezing, as well as audio and video not synced? Well, that's not good that it's not synced. It might be happening when the Starlink goes out, Debbie, if that's the case. And if so, I apologize. Next spring, I'll be moving the Starlink up, but I can't even guarantee that that's going to fix it because I know that there are other, nuances with Starlink, cloud cover, and things like that that sometimes affect it, or satellite placement. So hopefully it's not too bad, though. Let's see here. KT says we have several earthquakes daily here in Alaska. Many people do not know that. Yeah, there's like 50,000 earthquakes a year or something like that. Some outrageous number of earthquakes that happen a year in Alaska. Alaska is definitely the one place in the United States that has the most earthquakes for sure. I don't think we're the most in the world, but we're right up there with them for sure. One Coke to go is asking Vic, GFF, what people still need there in, I believe it was South Carolina, where the monkeys are on the loose. And also, everyone who went through all the flooding in New Mexico and in the South as well. I mean, there's a lot of places that are in need right now. So my heart goes out to everybody for all those, issues that everyone's having in the world. 907 Pike says, the material yurts are made of works great as for a sod roof. Well, that's good to know. That is something that I would love to do on the future outhouses, is to put a sod roof on. I think that would be awesome. So that's good to know. Thanks for sharing that. Mountain Mariner says, clearing snow off roofs ninth winter is a money maker in the winters. Clearing snow off roofs ninth winter is a money maker in the winters. A dangerous one too, but I guess it could make you a lot of money. It would have to be an electric, as she does not do propane. Nope, I do not do propane. I don't like propane. I don't like natural gas. I'm even scared of the butane burner that I have, to be honest with you. I still use it, but it scares me. I'm a chicken. My dad was in charge of the gas emergency response team for the utility company when I was growing up. And yeah, way too many horror stories of gas explosions, so I'm scared to death of it. Nanny Goat Acres, good to see you. I'm so glad to see you in here. Nanny Goat says, single burner induction cooktop is a great thing to have. May be a good backup to your butane cook stove. I have both, but propane and induction. Yeah, I've thought about getting an induction cooktop. That is something that I've thought about for sure. And I've often wondered about the cost of the butane, because the butane is not cheap. There was a place that was selling it up here for like $2 a can, but when I went there, they were, of course, sold out. But the butane's not cheap, and I'm always I wonder how much my electricity would go up if I was using like an induction cooktop or just even an electric, whatever they're called, electric burner. Who knows? Probably wouldn't go up that much, but yeah, once I'm out of the butane, I'm probably not going to buy more. I don't think. We'll see. And Anna is saying that I am so talented. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day about, I used to help my aunt on the weekends. Like one weekend I help her, the next weekend she'd help me. And she said to me one day, she goes, I don't know how you do everything you do. And I said, well, I don't know either. But when I figure it out, I'm going to bottle it. Well, I'm going to patent it, bottle it, and title it Necessity, because everything I do is just out of necessity. So, but I do appreciate the compliment, Anna. Thank you. Lois says, for some time now, people in Florida have had a hard time getting insurance. Yeah, it's because the insurance companies, they don't want to pay on the claim. So if they're just not going to. If you're in a flood zone, or if you're in a earthquake zone, or you're in a tornado zone, or you're in a rain zone at this moment, I mean, the insurance companies, they got you over a barrel. Really, that's how I look at it. It's unfortunate. And Mapperton Live, as channel link is up on the screen for others who may be interested. So there you go. Thank you for doing that. And Mute says to Douglas that they have a propane water heater on demand in their cabin and they love it. Yeah, I know my mom has on demand at her home and she loves it as well. Now she's on city water, of course, though, but that's what her house uses, is an on demand water heater, and she absolutely loves it. But I remember using it and I was standing there like, okay, it's 30 seconds, it's 40 seconds, it's whatever to get the water to come out hot, and I was like, I'm not doing this at my place, that's for sure. And Practicality is telling Ashley over at Old School Alaska, you rock as a mod and to have a great night. Ashley does rock. Ashley rocks not only as a moderator, but Ashley rocks on his channel as well. So if you haven't checked out Ashley's channel, Old School Alaska, be sure to check him out and encourage him to get his butt up to Alaska, where we're trying to encourage him to get up here and start showing his crafts up here and selling them and making a living for himself up here. So he would fit right in with everybody. And Douglas says, JR, that would work electric. That's a lot of work, always boiling water. It can be. I don't think I use as much water as people probably think I do either, though. Like I'm pretty frugal even with my water usage. Practicality says it's after 11 here, so it's past my bedtime, and they're saying good night. I will rewatch the rest tomorrow. Well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And again, everybody, make sure you check out Practicality Creative's channel as well. I'm sure she would greatly appreciate that. Joseph says, your live QA is a terrific success. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who's joining me here tonight. And I'll probably be going for about another 20 minutes before I wind her down and shut it down for tonight. But I want to thank everybody who's been in here and all the wonderful questions that have come up and sticking with me through all the freezing screens and the audio not syncing. So Vic is saying they need lots of construction help down that way after everything that they've been through. So keep that in mind, folks. If you're able to help those who are in need down in the South from all the flooding and the hurricanes and everything like that, and now the monkeys, please do. Absolutely. Vic, if you have a way where people can donate, to getting the goods that you guys need down that way, if you could let Ashley know so Ashley can put up a link to it, that would be great. I would appreciate that, as I'm sure all of you and your neighbors would be as well. MD says, watch out, use duct tape. Ink leaches through the bag. Does not matter what you use. Watch out. MD, I'm sure you're talking about something that I am not following. Sorry for that. Susie Q 1964 says another Alaska channel did a video about getting the money for living there after a year, and there was quite a few people who got really upset at her, telling her she doesn't belong there. Oh yeah, and you're going to see that too. You're going to see a lot of people who get upset, saying, when someone new moves up to Alaska, like, don't move up here, don't be here, go back home, we don't want you, take you and all your ways with you. But what people in Alaska, that's only a portion of people who are going to tell you that. But there are other people in Alaska who are going to be like, yeah, we need people up here who are willing to keep the ways of Alaska alive. Like, if you're going to come up here and you're going to try to change Alaska into something that it hasn't been, that's not going to fly well up here. But if you're wanting to come up here and you're wanting to live like an Alaskan, in other words, you're wanting to hunt and you're wanting to fish and you're wanting to, respect privacy and you want to respect nature and you want to, within the Alaska way of respecting nature, in other words, that, we're here to serve each other, not just us to maintain wildlife and never hunt and fish. then sure, people are going to welcome you up here. But there's a lot of people in Alaska that don't want outsiders to move into Alaska. That is for sure. And you just have to come up here and you have to prove yourself and you have to prove that you're willing to live the Alaska way, you know. But yeah, nobody wants someone to come in and tell them how to live their lives when you moved into their house, so to speak, right? You moved into their house and now you're telling them how to live their lives in their house. Nobody likes that. So if you're going to move to Alaska, put your views to the side, learn what Alaska is all about, learn to adapt to Alaska. That's really what it's about. I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that one because I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah, Alaska's definitely got its own thing going on up here, and we love it the way it is. So for sure. And just like Big Family says, they love their Berkey. I love my Berkey. Berkey is a great thing for sure. Amy is saying thanks for the gifted membership. So thank you for that. And KT also has a gifted membership, it looks like. So thank you again for everyone who gifted memberships. I appreciate that. Maddie says, Berkey lover here, but my son purchased a water drop and it was less expensive and did about the same. Yeah, there are definitely other ones out there that can do exactly like the Berkey has done for sure. One Coke to Go says, I wish someone would collect to get tiny homes for the old, sick, and little kids, people who can't survive winter in a tent. Exactly. That is what would be awesome to see is like the people that are really in need down there right now that, you know, aren't going to make it through the cold times, that they get a roof over their heads, you know, a solid roof for sure, and food and a way to cook and clean. It's not easy. It's not easy, and our government definitely didn't step up for them, that's for sure. Let's see here. Silly Rabbit says, have you ever thought about hauling and keeping water in a water bed? No, I have not. I've seen the baffle type you know, bag systems for water. But no, I have not. I have a 500-gallon water tank in the cellar that I use just for fire suppression. Should there ever be a fire here before emergency services could make their way out to my cabin. Um, and I have a 55-gallon water tank on the other side of the kitchen wall. Sorry, my hand just went up in front of my face there. But I'm actually thinking about draining that and not using it in the future because I don't go through it that fast and the water gets kind of icky in there. And I've heard that I could put colloidal silver in there and all of that. But I actually think just hauling in the 5-gallon I know they're not jerry cans, 5-gallon water jugs that I use um, works just fine for me. And I have enough of those that I don't think I actually need to store as much water as I have been. It's like I'm not going through the water fast enough to make it useful or make it beneficial to keep all that excess water on hand. But I have seen it for sure. Ed says that he uses a Berkey for about the past 3 years. He likes it. Got the Berkey Big, I believe they call it. I think that's the same one I have. A good size for one person that drinks a lot of water every day. One Coke to Go says, my old cabin isn't much, but I'm so lucky that I have it. Yep. That's how I feel about this place. Like this place might need a lot of work. There are a lot of people who said it probably should have just been torn down, but I'm very fortunate that I found it. I'm very fortunate that I'm able to maintain it and, you know, make it my own. And I'm very happy that it is where it is and that it's in Alaska. I'm very happy here for sure. And Karina says, my wood cook stove does all that and bonus heats the house. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like $250 for that Ninja Foodie. Just I was like, yeah, I can't see spending it on an electric appliance when I got something that already does it. MD says, my God, woman, if I could send you one, a Ninja Foodie, I would, but I didn't know you were wood fired. That is the best. Second backup. Yes, it is. I do have a wood stove in my cabin that I use, but thank you, MD. Don't mean to offend. I wasn't trying to offend by any means. Mary Lang says, are there coyotes in Alaska? I know there are timber wolves. Yes, there are coyotes in Alaska. Absolutely. Yeah. Just as much as, if not more than there are wolves. I've seen a lot of coyotes. Um, Nina says she's considering getting a Berkey. I recommend it, but again, uh, I think it was Vic said that there are other um, brands out there for sure. Um, Old School Alaska has put up Mountain Mariners link again just for everybody. And Curmudgeon just subbed to 907 Pike, Alaska. So thanks for doing that. And there's 907 Pike, Alaska's link for everybody. And Rob and Sarah are saying, yes, there are coyotes up here for sure. Let's see here. Maddie says, yep, Alaska matchmaker. I'm telling you, that's my next profession, is being an Alaska matchmaker. Mary Lung says, so you're going to start an Alaskan Lonely Hearts Club? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And now we're telling Ed that he needs to go on the show, Love Off Grid. Oh my goodness. Grizzly says, I'm single too, but after my ex-wife, I think I'm happier with just my dog, but minds can be changed. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Trust me. Jack Brown says, may God bless you and keep you safe. It's been a joy listening to you. I love your voice. I'm getting ready for bed and watching Spaceballs. Oh my goodness. I'm starting to giggle. It'll just be our secret. My heart is always with you. Thanks, Jack Brown. I appreciate it. Spaceballs is hilarious. MD says, so for all the Alaska Live channels are awesome. Yes, all the Alaska channels. I don't think I've come across an Alaskan channel that I haven't enjoyed in some aspect or another. So great channels here. And My Wild Home also. Let's include them in there as well. My Wild Home. Be sure to check them out. Janet says, you could be the Alaskan. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. The Alaskan Cupid. Uh, is that the CG in Oregon to go? Is that CG in Oregon? Sorry, that's a private conversation that I just butted in again. Mute said, admins, does this host have a buy me a coffee link to give her a tip outside of YouTube? No, I do not have a buy me a coffee, but I do have Patreon where you can leave a donation, and PayPal. I have PayPal as well, but I do not have coffee, the buy me a coffee thing. And let's see here. There's Grizzly Acres Homestead channel link again. So thank you for that. Anna says, we're still having warm weather here in North Carolina. Send some of your cold air. Gladly. Let's see here. Eric says, will the baking soda and flour work on rats too? It might. It might if they, I would think so. A rat is just basically an overgrown mouse. I know they're not the same thing, but I would think that it would do the same thing. But what I would try, Eric, is a plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris and cocoa powder or sugar. And that's going to set up in them like concrete. And Mary says, I heard some grizzlies mated with polar bears and they call them growler bears. Prisley bears is what I heard. Prisley. Polar and grizzly put together. But yeah, that is true that they have. RNRD says, what do you miss most that you can't get or do since moving to Alaska? Besides seeing my family, that is a good question. I do miss some areas in Colorado. Like I used to go fishing and camping all the time, and in the Pacific Northwest as well. So yeah, I miss that. There aren't a whole lot of roads in Alaska. Um, I mean, there might be a lot of roads, but there aren't a lot of roads that you can actually take, because a lot of them are like pipeline that you're going to lead back to a gated fence that you can't travel down, or they just dead end, or it's a private drive. Um, but there aren't a whole lot of roads in Alaska. So that's one thing that I miss the most is like, all right, I'm back. Sorry about that. the Starlink definitely went out that time. But yeah, I used to get in my car and just drive all over Colorado and the Pacific Northwest, and you just can't do that here because there's just not a whole lot of places to go by car. So that's what I would miss most. And hippie or cowgirl hippie chick. I keep seeing the hippie and saying it first. Cowgirl hippie chick says, I found you via Curmudge Inn and have been binge watching you from the very first video. I'm almost through your first year, enjoying your videos from Southern New Mexico. Used to live in Palmer. Oh, that's awesome that you used to live here, so you can relate for sure. And it's awesome that you also found me from Curmudge Inn. So thank you for that, and thank them for that. I appreciate both of that. And AFJ looks like he's signing off for the night. Ruby at Rushing Wind Mountain is signing off for the night. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good night. One Coke to Go says mashed potatoes are supposed to kill them. Yeah, I heard that as well, that mashed potatoes will kill rats. So Grizzly Acre says, old school, that's exactly what backfired on me. I'm not sure what they're talking about. Sorry. Ginger says, this is Ginger at Ginger's Home and Garden DIY. She says that I like that Tomcat will dehydrate the mice. It will. The only reason I don't use Tomcat or anything like that is that I don't want when the mouse is running out of the cabin, say he eats some and he leaves the cabin and he runs off, that I don't want something else to get a hold of him and then ingest that mouse and ingest that poison. Where a bird can get a hold of the baking soda and they're not going to have a problem. They can throw it because they regurgitate all the time. But I don't want something else to get a hold of it and die. So that's why I use the baking soda and flour, or why I just use the traps that I use. So let's see here. Hello, Leonard Thomas. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you here. Mary says, try using washing soda and sugar for the mouse problem. Works for ants too. Good to know. Good to know. I've also used borax and sugar for ants, and that works great. Ginger says she just got high-speed internet this summer. Yeah, the Starlink is working a lot better than the DSL did, other than it has a few glitches every now and then, as you guys have experienced. So it's worth it, though. I'm glad to have the Starlink for sure. And Old School Alaska has put up Curmudge Inn channel link for everybody, so thank you for doing that. Leonard, did you win big on poker? Fingers crossed you came home the winner on that one. Ginger says, I love country life, but can go into town in 25 minutes. Yeah, I could go into Glen Ellen in about 45 minutes. But it's not really a big town. Like I said, it's a one street, one horse town, pretty much. But it does take me a few hours to get into one of the bigger towns. But I don't mind that. I love where I'm at for sure. Grizzly Acre says, found my YouTube channel and tried to use it to cause trouble. Narcissist at the highest caliber. Must be talking about exes. That's all I can think is they're talking about exes. Good night, Anna. Have a good night. And I love seeing you here. So I'm glad you love the channel. Thanks again. Big Family Expedition is saying good night to everyone. Enjoyed hanging out. Good night. I hope you guys have a good night. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out their channel. Everyone disappointed. And let's see here. And I froze up again. I apologize. It'll come back in just a second here, folks. I know you guys can probably see me, but can't hear me. There we go. Leonard says, doesn't planting mint keep mice away? That is the rumor. That is a rumor, but I don't know that that's the case. Delbert is saying good night. I'm not sure if you're leaving for us for the night or not, Delbert, but if you are, good night and thanks again. Appreciate you being here. Leonard says he won $100, it looks like. That's good. One more second. It looks like it froze up again here, folks. $100, Leonard said. That's nice. Her second win says, Alone, what kind of communications do you have for emergencies if you get car trouble in the middle of nowhere? What is a reliable backup if there's no cell service? So I have a Garmin InReach Mini, just the little mini one that you can send text messages out on. I have it set up for some friends of mine here locally that I can send a text message to. And then also my son down in the lower 48, should I run into serious trouble. I've it set up with some preset messages, and then I can also send a text as well and say, X, Y, and Z is what's going on. But it'll send my exact GPS coordinates when it sends a text message, so they know exactly where I'm located, and they can map it and what have you. And then also I share my location on my phone because I have an Apple phone. I share my location when I'm going into town, so that if I don't make it, they can at least see the last known place of my location. The only thing is it doesn't really track it when I lose cell signal. That's the only thing. But the Garmin does. So, but yeah, that's what I use is a Garmin satellite phone. It's just a satellite texting device, really, is what it is. And JR is saying that Glen Allen is big money, which equals tourist trap. Glen Allen is big money. It is expensive there. The groceries are outrageous. The gas is $1 something more than it is in Anchorage or Palmer. Yeah, it's expensive in Glen Allen for sure, which is the hardware store is expensive. Everything's expensive in Glen Allen, which is why I try to make sure that if I need something, that it's worth it for me to drive into town, and I just try to group all the things I need into one trip so that I don't have to do it more than once. Apologies, I got a tickle in the throat. So sorry. So I was wrong. Leonard said sixth place, broke even 70 to get in $30. Wow. That's not good. So got $70 because he made 100 and he had to pay 30 to get in. Gotcha. One Coke to go is saying good night. And with that, folks, I'm actually going to start to wind this down too. I'm going to answer a few more questions and then I'm going to close this down in about the next 5 minutes. Siwi Wabbit says, do Alaskans use CB? Yes, there are some Alaskans that use CB still. Also, ham radio is big up here. And also two-way radios are a thing up here as well. So, yep, that is a good question. Janet says, enjoyed your live alone and Kenai. Till next time. Good night, all. Good night, Janet. Thanks for joining us tonight. And One Coke to Go is asking if Fast Eddie's is still in Glen Allen. I don't think so. I've not seen it. That is not something I'm familiar with, so I don't think it is there. Titus and Jackie says, I work nights. This is my morning. Well, good morning then to you. And Leonard says, any restaurant supply store carries rat traps safe for pets. Yeah, that's interesting. Also, if you're going to trap like large animals up here, like squirrels, things like that, that might be trying to get into your cabins, it's good to nail those traps down because otherwise they'll just take off with them. They'll get their paw or their tail or something caught in them and they'll take off and your trap is gone. And so is the animal. But it might encourage them to not come back too, though. Karina says it's called walking lull. I didn't catch that. That has something to do with something else. Race in Alaska is saying that Fast Eddie's is in Tok. There you go. That's why I haven't seen it. Tom Stone says, I know we all come from one bad relationship or another, but how do you deal with the loneliness? I'm an introvert, really, is how I deal with it. Yeah, I love my company. I think I'm hilarious. I crack myself up. I don't really get bored easily, and I don't really think about it too much. Yeah. I kind of freeze up around people, and people make me nervous because I feel like I have to tend to their needs all the time. And so when people aren't around, I feel like I can breathe because I don't have to wait on people hand and foot. It's just my nature. So yeah, loneliness is not a thing that I really have battled with in my life. But I feel bad for people that do get lonely or feel like they need the company of other people around. It's just, yeah, I get to talk to all of you guys, which I think helps combat that. And I talk to my family on the phone quite often. So I think that's why maybe also I don't get lonely. It's because I get to see all of you guys on your YouTube channels for those of you that have them, and then talk to you guys in the live streams and on other people's live streams. Maybe that's it right there, actually. And there's Race in Alaska's channel link. So thanks for putting that up, Ashley. And her second one says, thanks for answering our questions. So appreciated. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate you guys asking the questions. That makes the live stream go a lot quicker for me. Mary Lung says, Grandpa gave my kid $300 to play online course races. First time trying it, Grandpa was shocked when my kid made $4,800 and gave it all to Grandpa. That's a good kid. That is a good kid. Her Second Wind channel link is right there for everybody. Be sure to pay her a visit and tell her Alone sent you. Frank James says Elon Musk's Starlink would be cool there. Yeah, it is working, but unfortunately, I need to move it up higher to where it has better access to the full night sky and not just the one side of the building. Online horse races is what Mary was saying. Ginger is saying gas in central Indiana at the co-op is $2.89 a gallon. I believe the gas here, I couldn't actually tell you what it is, but the last time I looked, it was well over $5 a gallon. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look the next time I go out what the gas prices actually are. RM says, nice to see you, Miss Alone. God bless and take good care. And God bless and take good care to all of you as well. And I want to thank my moderators again for being here, even those who had prior plans like JR. Thank you for showing up when you did. And again, thank you, Ashley, for everything you're doing. And for Rob and Sarah, Adam and Phyllis, all of you. I really appreciate all of you guys moderating the channel and the live stream tonight. And I want to thank everybody for being here. You guys have made this a pleasure. So if I didn't get to your questions and comments, I apologize. Hopefully I'll get to them next time. But thanks again, and I will see you on the next live stream. Thanks again.